Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the Isle of Man in the UK. This is John and Mike's MMA Corner.
Welcome one and all to John and Mike's MMA Corner.
MMA from a different angle.
And before we kick off with obviously our usual saga of laughter and seriousness, professionalism, we're going to start by asking you all to jump onto Facebook, Twitter, the lot really, the social networking sites, and give some of our esteemed colleagues a follow, because their hard work really helps not only us and yourselves, but just MMA grow. So first up we have
MMA Scotland.
We'd like you to also jump onto UFC Wreckage on Facebook. Their Twitter handle and their website is MMA Wreckage.
We also have MMA UK, and their Twitter handle is We Are MMA UK.
Jump on to Facebook to Fighting and MMA.
We also have on Facebook and Twitter The Real MMA Talk.
And last but not least, they're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, they're on Twitter. Can't miss them. If you like a giggle, you like a laugh, jump onto Funny MMA, kind of putting a light-hearted view on the aspects of MMA and the goings-ons.
I thought it was serious.
Exactly. So that's what you want to jump onto. Now what we're going to do is jump straight in to this week's edition.
Okay, folks. Bit of a quiet one this week.
Not much
to
happening.
talk about.
That's
No.
it. So we'll see you all next week.
Yeah. Okay. Right. It's next week.
Yeah, next week. Right. Go
Okay.
Go on, Mike.
Yeah. Where should we start?
Where do you want to start?
Are we still in shock?
I'm fine. I feel fine. I feel good.
Yeah, having watched it a few times, it's hard to believe how everyone had Ronda Rousey down to win. Crazy thing. So,
Yeah.
Bit of a shock. But we'll talk about that a bit later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It did happen.
It did
so,
happen.
Yeah, you weren't dreaming. It really did happen.
No, but we're going to let you all know that we have got a lot of guests on, and we're going to let you know what we're going to talk about this week.
Yes.
So our first few guests that we've got on today, we'll let you know. We've got 3 fighters that are competing this week on Shamrock FC. Kevin Woltkamp, we've got Aaron Poston, and we've got Thomas Thatcher. Then we have 2 teammates in Ryan Roddy and Tommy Quinn. Now Ryan Roddy just recently was actually starring, performing in, I don't know how do you want to word this, he was appearing.
Surviving in.
It felt
He's currently living in a rabbit burrow
Yeah.
as we speak, but we don't know what location.
No. So Ryan Roddy was recently on the television show called SAS Who Dares Wins. So we spoke to him about that, and we also have his teammate in Tommy Quinn, who's taken on Matt Inman.
It's his house husband, isn't it?
Well, they are married, but we don't need to talk about that.
Yeah, you know.
They got Tommy Quinn, who's taken on Matt Inman at the Made for the Cage on 28th of November, and then finally coming up on the Titan FC card in December the 16th, Titan FC 36, we have 2 guys who are going to lock horns in Kevin Croom and Cody Stamann. They're going to face each other, so we'll have them on as well. But then we need to talk about what we're going to discuss this podcast, which will be the BAMMA results, UFC 193 results, and the upcoming UFC Fight Night card.
Yeah, and then we'll also sort of
we'll
round up. Obviously, this has stolen pretty much the whole of every sort of media outlet. So basically, what we'll do is we'll look at the aftermath and how we think this might go. Will it be a good thing? Will it be a bad thing, etc.
So first, we're going to kick off talking about what happened this weekend of 1FC, where the main event, which is Ben Askren, was meant to fight Luis Santos. It didn't happen in the end, and it was beautiful. Ben Askren posted a video about why, and for folks who don't know, Santos didn't make weight. Now, he had time to cut the weight, and he didn't make it in the end. So what happened was, obviously, title fight is off. But Ben Askren said, I still want to fight, so let's do this. Now, he said, you can't weigh over 185 pounds. Santos argued and said, I can't control my weight. So then he said, right, okay, you got to weigh 190 pounds then. No more than 190 pounds on the day of the fight, okay? So then we'll still do the fight, okay? As long as you stick to that, we'll do it. It didn't happen in the end. And now, we have posted on our Facebook page the video that Ben Askren posted, so you can watch that to get more of an insight into everything, because there's a lot more to it. But at the same time, it's a shame because Ben Askren's missed out on a fight. Last time they had the fight, he got the eye pokes, so the fight ended short. Yeah, it's annoying.
If that guy had no bad luck, he'd have no luck, would he? You know, it's.
He needs to get fighting. Really, he is.
I mean, this guy is legit. Now, whether you find him interesting or not, the guy's legit, and I'd love to see him fight in the very best, just to see how he fares.
Yeah, it would be interesting, but I doubt it's going to happen. But ONE FC, it's a big blow for them. That, especially when Ben Askren got knocked off that card.
Yeah.
So I just thought I'd mention that. That's why we won't be talking about
So
that fight.
yeah, feel sorry for the promotion. Feel sorry for.
Okay, next up we have Kevin Woltkamp, who's taking on James Evan at the upcoming Shamrock FC card. So he's our first guest. Here he is. Okay, welcome Kevin to the show. Thank you very much for talking to us. You are really just starting to reach that pinnacle time of your fight camp in preparation to take on James Evans. And you're fighting obviously on Shamrock on 21st November. How is yourself feeling mentally and physically for this fight?
Man, I'm feeling really good. I'm actually more excited, and I think it's making the jump to the professional rank has kind of got my juices flowing here. I mean, I've never underestimated an opponent. I never will. But for some reason, I just feel like I'm on my grind really well right now during this fight camp, and I feel like by the time that fight gets here, I'm going to be right at my peak point, and I think I'm going to be ready to roll.
Now, from what I believe, is this your pro debut? From what I've researched.
Yes, that is correct.
Now, obviously, it's a different step from amateur to professional. Have obviously you've been training I'd say trained professional in a way. Are you preparing yourself in a different manner for the professional fight?
I am. Just in the sense that my amateur career, my losses have come to pretty tough opponents. I think all but one of my losses, the opponents were undefeated. The mentality that I took as an amateur was, I want to fight the best of the best. I want to see where I'm at this very moment. And some of those fights, honestly, against my coach's better judgment, he told me, you should probably wait. You're not quite there yet. You're still pretty new. But, now I'm at a point where I'm like, hey, I got that out of my system. I know what it's like to fight the best. I know what it's like to fight these guys that are title holders. And so at this point in my career, I'm 37 years old, so I'm definitely not a young spring chicken by any means. I feel like I got to get in there. I got to grind. I got to let these guys know that, hey, when that cage door locks, man, this is not, some fly by the seat of your pants independent fighter. I'm a guy who's a part of a team. My team pushes me, and those guys have gotten me ready, guys and girls, because we have females on our team as well. They have pushed me to a place where, honestly, at the time, it's not the greatest feeling in the world. But then once you're done and you accomplish that, it's like, all right, man, if I can face this, I know when that cage door shuts, I can face whatever stands in front of me.
I think the amateur scene is starting to become more and more vital for mixed martial artists. I've spoke with very high-level professionals socially, and they've even mentioned how the guys that they train, the up-and-coming guys, they will purposefully put them in amateur bouts with guys who have very solid records, not in the hope that they lose, but in a sense that they know that they need those guys to lose. They need them to have a loss under their belt, and just for experience, because any guy can go in and fight amateur, fight a load of guys who they're going to win and smash, and then go to the pro ranks and think everything's going to be fantastic.
You need tests. Yeah, you need tests beforehand, because you can scrap and start again, can't you?
It's important. It's important to get those losses, and I think that you've had it and you've accepted that. You said it helped you. That's exactly what it was meant to do. You've took the lesson that was there.
Absolutely. I think one of the greatest, if I could call it a fault on a human level, I think one of the greatest downfalls to humanity is that everybody thinks they're going to be at the top and that they're never going to experience defeat. And so if you don't experience defeat, number one, let me back up just a second. I think that character is revealed through defeat, honestly. A lot of guys, you're right, they get in, they just, hey, I just want to get in a fight. And so it's this glorified hype of, hey, guys, I'm an MMA fighter, and they tell all their friends, and, it looks cool, right? But to the rest of us who take this very seriously, it's not just a fad. It's not just a phase in our life. This is the outlet that we've been given, and I'm very grateful for this, because there's people that are born, and I believe that, not in I won't say a religious way, like God makes people this way, but I believe there are warriors, and I believe that they walk this earth today. They didn't just exist in medieval times, and this is an outlet that we have that's legal, so that people don't end up in jail, So to me, I feel like those losses, they reveal something each time. each loss that I had was different. I've been knocked out twice. Those, I should have kept my hands up. I mean, that's pretty basic. But it's the couple of losses that I lost to, let's see, it was Zach Gorillas and Brandon Huckabee, two Midwest heavyweights, good guys. And I learned so much from those losses, and it revealed something within me. Number one, you can give me your best shot, and if it doesn't put me to sleep, I'm not stopping. That's just the bottom line. You're not going to outgrind me in a fight, especially now that we're at the professional level. I mean, I was given the nickname the workhorse for a purpose and for a reason, and that's just because of my style of fighting. I mean, if I get a guy on the ground, man, I'm going to be on top of you like, I hate to say it like this, but this is just reality. I'm going to be on top of you like an old fat man on an 18-year-old stripper. You're not getting up. I'm going to be there until I'm done. That's just the bottom line.
What's an 18-year-old stripper look like?
They vary,
Now that depends if you win or lose your last fight.
Yeah, it's a good analogy though. I do like that. We'll have to take that one. Now, like you say, if you could take the hit. But the thing is, with the heavyweights, there's no soft hitters, really. It's hard to find someone who doesn't hit heavy in the heavyweight division because science, physics, that anyone who's heavy is going to hit hard, essentially. It does come down then, obviously, to technique and speed and everything. Like you say, you've had the knockouts. Do you then take that and go, right, I need to work more on my boxing? Or do you evolve your game to reduce the amount of chances you get hit? Do you maybe go for more grappling style? Is that what? How did you take those?
For me, it was okay. We got to fix the stand-up game. I knew I could hit hard, but like you just made a point of, any big guy can hit hard. That's just reality. So the question is, how long can I hit hard? Can I keep that level of intensity up for a 5-minute round, or is that something that's only going to last, a couple seconds and then I'm gassed out? So it was kind of a twofold deal. When I saw, I'm a very big critic on myself, and so I go back and watch my videos actually more than I have ever watched my opponent's videos. I'm watching myself because I want to see areas that I can improve on as a fighter and a competitor, and so that's one of the areas. And I've been saying for this fight, I'm not going to be stubborn. I'm a fighter who I would say can evolve and adapt as the fight goes on. So if the fight goes to the ground, great. I'm comfortable on the ground. I'm comfortable off my back. I'm blue belted under Steve Crawford in American Jiu-Jitsu and his no-gi Jiu-Jitsu program. And, so for me, the mats are my friend. I'm not afraid of those mats. But for this specific fight, I'm hoping that the gentleman that I'm going to face would like to keep it standing, and he would like to bang it out with me because he's got some things that I've been working on. I want to showcase more as a stand-up fighter. I don't want to just have to go to the ground. But, if a nice solid shot gets in and gets the guy knocked down to the ground, obviously I'm not just going to stand up and wave him back up. That's not my personality, so I'll finish the fight wherever it goes.
I was going to say, that sounds also that you're really looking to entertain in this fight as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I want to give people that have spent good hard-earned money on tickets, I want to give them a show. I don't want this to be some thing where they come in and watch guys lay on one another. I can't stand it. Now here's my background real quick. I didn't wrestle in high school. I was a football player, played basketball, and wrestling was something I didn't get into. So I was 33 years old. My ground game, so to speak, came from learning jiu-jitsu. And so it's cool because in my training camp and in part of my gym, I've got some guys that are good wrestlers. Matt Sudduth, Connor Gross. These are good guys, both fairly new to the fight game, but their wrestling game is phenomenal. So the one thing that I've learned from them is to be an active wrestler. It's not just lay and pray. I'm not just going to go grab a guy, lay on him, and then that's what people got to watch me do for the rest of the fight. I mean, what is this? I don't want that to be the thing that people come to see and my name to be associated with.
No, it isn't. And do you know the other thing was you said about not gassing with the striking? It is a very careful thing to be kind of eco-efficient with your striking, especially in the heavyweight division. A lot of guys in the heavyweight division, the conditioning is a very huge part of it because you do see often guys that just blow their, like you say, their cannons at about a couple of minutes, and then
I was going to say, almost like having an 18-year-old.
It is.
You don't want to blow your
you don't want to blow your load. So
30 seconds
you
you
don't.
got.
But some heavyweights do, and then that's it. Then they're kind of the two of them maybe are just trying to get through to the end of the fight. Have you learned that? Have you seen that yourself watching heavyweight fights? Have you maybe considered to yourself then, I need to make sure my conditioning is at a level where like you say, you can punch hard maybe in the second round or the third even.
Well,
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with you guys 100%. The downfall of the heavyweight fighter is, it's been typical of seeing a fighter throw a couple good punches or maybe go a good round. But I think the style of fighting that I like and that I'm used to, I'll go out and box. I can go out and kickbox. I feel like my kicks, I honestly 100% after hearing guys that I spar with and after seeing, film on myself, my kicks are underutilized, but they're powerful. That's something, if I catch a guy heavy on his lead leg, I feel sorry for him the next day. I can tell you this, if he's married, he's not going to be able to have sexual relations with his wife for a while because he's not going to get a good thrust off of those legs. Because if I see that heavy leg and he's standing on that heavy leg, I'm going to chop the shit out of it. That's just the bottom line. And so for me, it's being able to go back and forth. If I'm not just going to blow my wad trying to throw knockout punches every time. I'll set a guy up. I'll set a guy up with a couple of nice, easy hooks to get around and get that leg or that rib kick. There's a lot of different aspects to my game that I feel like, even though I've only been in this for a short period of time, like I said, I started when I was 33. I'm 37 now. I feel like over the last year and a half, that I've truly kind of accepted certain aspects of my game that are just part of me, and I've evolved as a fighter. Because the reality is, in the last last 18 months, I went 5-1 as a fighter. Should have been 6-0, but that split decision loss to Zach Gorillas for Shamrock back on March 7th. That was my fault. Bottom line, I should never have let that go to the judges. So, yeah.
Now, you said that you're evolving your game. A big part of this kind of MMA scene is to get yourself out there, and for people to know who you are. Social media is playing a big part, I think, in MMA these days. And Kevin, is there a way for people to jump online to maybe give you like a following, kind of join you on this little journey that you're taking into the professional ranks?
Sure, yeah. I use Facebook quite a bit, so you can find me as Kevin Woltkamp, Woltkamp. I'm on Facebook there. You can also find me on Twitter. Twitter's pretty new to me. I just started using it here in the last month, and I'm at the Workhorse, and then the number 1 is at the end. So it's at the Workhorse 1 on my Twitter. If you're ever out in the Wellsville, Kansas area, that's where our gym's at. We own Brick House Fitness and MMA, so if you're a fighter or if you're just a housewife wanting to get in shape, if you're a blue-collar worker wanting to get in shape, come visit us. We're at 402 Pendleton Avenue. They're in Wellsville, Kansas, 66092.
Or if you're an 18-year-old stripper, give them a look.
Yeah.
And learn how to get past that fat guy.
Yeah,
practice workouts too, but I'm happily married, so that was back in my college days.
And what about, you mentioned the gym. What about your coaches? What about your friends and family? You say you're married. What about your missus? Do you want to give a thanks to the people that have helped you with this fight camp to get you ready for your pro debut?
Yeah, definitely. First of all, there's been guys that have come and gone since we've opened our gym. But one thing, there's a few that have been there basically from day one. So I'm going to give a shout out to those guys. They also compete for me and with me. So I want to give a shout out to Tim Matney. I want to give a shout out to Denton Lawrence, Connor Gross, Matt Sudduth, Chris Mills, and of course, my female fighter that I've got 2. My wife is one of them. So, honey, I just want to say I love you. And then Jessica Rambo, she's with the name Rambo. I mean, come on, you got to be a fighter with the last name Rambo.
She was a killer from day one,
If she doesn't have a little band across her head coming into there, I'll be very disappointed. Now, what about sponsorship, Kevin? That's the key. Have you got any sponsors out there that are helping you? Any local companies giving support?
Yeah, definitely. For this fight, I've got four or five good, solid sponsors. So. For this fight, I give a shout out to 5-Star Roofing with Marty Landreth. He's a local roofing contractor there in Wellsville. Also, Wellsville Chiropractic. For me, being a fighter, you can tweak your body so many different ways. So I'll go see her, Nicole Bolchek out there. And then I've also got a couple of sponsors, CCRM, Robert Carver, and this guy's like a business guru. I mean, for the fighters, he's also got a business called For the Fighters, actually, and it's kind of a management, / preparation portion for the business side of fighting, and he helps us to kind of keep things straightened out. So, want to give a shout out to him. I've got a couple other sponsors here. Aftershock Tattoo Company. That's another one. Aftershock Tattoo Company with Mike and Amanda Paquette. Appreciate those guys. All right, I want to give a shout out to Salvage Salon. Barbie over there at Salvage and Gardner, if you guys are looking to get your girl's hair done. 'Cause I don't have any hair. I've got a nice looking beard, but my hair, that's a different story. I like to be bald headed. But Barbie, she can take care of your hair if you're a man with hair, or if you got a girl that needs to get her hair done, take her over there. She's top of the line there.
Aftershock Tattoo Company. That sounds like a dodgy name for a tattoo company. Aftershock. That's not what I asked for.
Kevin, we look forward to finding out what happens with your fight. We'll be keeping a close eye on it across from the pond. For people who want to watch it, you can go onto the Shamrock FC website and they will stream it. You can pay to watch it, and then I think it's on for like 30 days after the watch as well. So if you do want to see a fight card out with very good production and very well worth
Definitely.
and they do very well match up the fights, don't they? Jesse does a good job.
Oh yeah,
he's a good man. Kevin, have a great experience for making your pro debut, and we never say good luck because it's about how hard you bust your bollocks. So just have a fantastic experience.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Okay, there was Kevin there. Now we're going to jump over to the BAMMA card that happened this weekend. I'll tell you what, it went a bit crazy. And what I mean by that is, originally, you had Ruben Wolf fighting Mark Godbeer. Then Mark Godbeer stepped out the agreed bout for the heavyweight title. And then Thomas Denham replaced Mark Godbeer. So it was Wolf against Denham for the interim heavyweight title. Then, pretty much the day before the fight, for the weigh-ins, Ruben Wolf was pulled and Paul Taylor was pulled, and Stuart Austin ended up stepping up to face Thomas Denham in what was the heavyweight title fight then. And the reason why I found out with Wolf is because his coach couldn't get over to the UK for the fight. He was stuck in Germany. So that was a bit crazy. Mark Godbeer then announced on BAMMA that he is not defending his belt because he is off to Japan at New Year to fight in the 8-man tournament they have on in Risen, the new Pride, I'd like to call it. So that was announced. So then, Stuart Austin took on Thomas Denham. And I was speaking before about last week with Ruben Wolf and Thomas Denham. Thomas Denham having lost a majority of his fights with knockouts. And I said I was a bit concerned. And he's got another loss with a knockout because Stuart Austin pinged him and dropped him. And I tell you what, awesome fight to watch it was. It was actually quite an entertaining bout. We had, obviously, the flyweight titles on the line, like I said. And I tell you what, Rani just went through Saj Hack with grappling. Like, just could not. Saj Hack likes to use footwork to keep away. And he'll pepper you and then step off. Rami, I tell you what, 3 rounds of pure just grappling. And I say 3 rounds. We don't know why. In fact, it was all over social media. I was speaking with a lot of guys on Twitter as well about why on earth is it 3 rounds. A lot of guys are questioning why they do 3, not 5. We've no idea. It's BAMMA. At the end of the day, that's what BAMMA's like. They do some weird things, and that's certainly one of them.
A championship fight should always be 5, I think.
But BAMMA are just weird. Rami, he won the flyweight title. Next up, we had Marcin Lazar against Paul Craig. Paul Craig went in, and I say he had his way. Marcin was getting the grappling on the cage to get him down. Then there was a sweep where Paul sweeped Marcin over, and then as he transitioned, they kind of rolled away. Paul slapped on the triangle, got the tap. Marcin lost his belt to Paul Craig. Now Paul is the light heavyweight title holder of BAMMA, so congratulations to Paul on getting the title. Then the co-main event, Ed Arthur versus Shea Walsh. Again, I spoke about this last week. Shea Walsh, who was competing against Ed Arthur. Now Shea Walsh, he was a challenger, but he had twice as many fights under his belt. Far more experienced fighter than Ed Arthur. Guess what? It showed. Decision win for Shea Walsh. Ed Arthur, he's only a kid. He's young in the sport. Do you know what? He had a lot of... tell you what, he's so super gracious in his defeat. Like online talking, praising Walsh for what he did. And Ed Arthur said, look, I'm going to go away, come back and, come back stronger. Shea Walsh, though, credit to him, well done, sir, for winning that bantamweight title. Oh. And the main event, Martin Stapleton against Gavin Sterrett, didn't last that long. I think it was 1 minute 13 seconds where Stapleton just ran through Sterrett and got the rear naked choke, and it was crazy. Like honestly, just over 1 minute. It was a hell of a performance from Stapleton. I think everyone was blown away from his performance in that fight. And I think it also shows Stapleton's maturity, and it's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming for Stapleton. He's been really grafting away, and it's good. It's come through, and he's defended his belt. And kudos to him for being the lightweight champ. So that's the BAMMA card that happened this weekend just gone. I'm sure you can jump online to find the fights if you want to jump on and watch them. We're going to jump now to a couple of interviews for a couple of guys that are on the Shamrock FC card also. Joining Kevin, we have Aaron Poston, who we've had on before, and we had him back again, and he's fighting again for another good cause. He's donating his purse and everything. It's really awesome to see this. We have Thomas Thatcher. I keep saying Thatcher, but it's Thatcher. Thomas Thatcher as well. He's fighting on the card too. So here's Aaron and Thomas. Aaron, welcome back onto the podcast. Your I'd say performing, so to speak. It's not performing. You're competing on the 21st of November at Shamrock Ambush. You're taking on Joe Brewer. Now, you did on your last bout, did a beautiful gesture in donating your purse and your commission from the fight. And this time, you've went and done it again. But do you want to elaborate on how you're doing it this time? Because it's not the same way. You're not directing it the same way this time, are you? It's going another way.
Yes, sir. I think one time I fought for the same cause, but the fights were, 3 or 4 weeks apart, something like that. So and it was a good buddy of mine, but, I fought for his kid. This time, on November 21st, I'm fighting for a coworker. His wife is a 2-time breast cancer survivor, and she was diagnosed with cervical cancer, I think March of last year, something like that, March of 2014. And the doctors told her that she would not live past the summer of 2015. But I actually met her for the first time the other day. It wasn't like an awkward meeting or anything like that, but I work at Casey Turner Middle School and everything, and it was a dress up day for Halloween and everything, and I get a call to the front office, and I'm decked out in a full on Ninja Turtles costume and everything, and oh man, I was dressed like Michelangelo. I had the nunchucks and everything.
I was going to say which one, because it is important which one,
Yeah, I was Michelangelo, and we were missing the fourth one, but another teacher was Leonardo, and then we had another one as Raphael. So, but I get up to the front office, and there's 3 individuals standing there, and they had on it looked like masks from the movie The Purge, if you've ever seen that, and they were just kind of, I walk in, and they're all 3 just staring at me, and it kind of, made me feel a little uneasy. I was like, okay, what did I do here? I was like, what's going on? Who are these people? And they say we were, the secretary's like, hey, this is Aaron here, and they're like, Aaron, it's nice to meet you. We want to royally boo you or whatever, something like that. And I was like, what? Say that again? They said, we're here to give you a royal boo, or and everything. And they gave me a sack full of candy, and they were saying royal boo because I'm from Kansas City, and Royals World Series is going on, and the boo part was for the Halloween. But I was like, oh man, I thought you guys were booing my costume. I thought it was pretty sharp and everything.
Heartbroken.
But I didn't. Camellia she was one of the ones with the mask on, and I didn't catch on to it at first because it just kind of caught me so off guard. But she's like, I'd like to thank you for what you do here at the school and what you're doing for my family. Well, she walked off, and they all left the building, and I looked at the secretary. I was like, wait a second, was that Camellia? Because like I said, I'd never met her, and she had her mask on. And, she looked like she was doing great and everything, and I sent her an email right away, right afterwards, like, ma'am, I severely apologize. I did not know that was you, and I get thrown off, but, she seems to be doing well and everything, and, she's taking life one day at a time, and, she's fighting through everything, and like I said, she's doing well.
It's great to hear that, and we love these kind of side stories to fighting. We recently had Shane Crutchin on, who is a former Marine, and his partner can't make it to the 240th Marine Corps ball, so he's offered to give a gold star lady, basically someone, either a widow, a daughter, etc., who's lost a son or whatever in combat, to come. He's going to pay all expenses paid to the Marine Corps ball to go with him. And
yes, sir. I've seen that all over social media, and I thought that was really, really awesome.
Yeah, we just had him on last week talking to him about it, and do you know what? It's
these feel good things, the things that leaving you, like, it doesn't matter how good your day's been or how bad, it leaves you feeling good about that, and it's coming from MMA, which some people would say is an aggressive one.
It's a barbaric sport, and you think, do you know what? It's not. People have got hearts, and this is something that I think needs publicised, and people need to hear about it more.
And something that's done by choice.
Yes.
No one's put a gun to your head and make you do this. You've chose to help these people. And
we take our hat off. We tip our hat to people like this, and I mean, it's beautiful that you're doing it. Obviously, you take the fight seriously anyway. You're not just stepping in there and you're not going to get blown out in 5 seconds. You're a competitor anyway. You've proven that with winning fights, and you like to submit people, and that's pretty much what I imagine you're probably trying to do this time round.
Yes, sir. And kind of getting, talking about the charities and everything a little bit more. And I tell everybody all the time, and I think I talked to you guys about it last time I spoke with you. I'm in a position to be able to help and everything, and so I help. I don't view it as anything special that I'm doing or anything like that, because I just view it as that's what you should do and help others and everything. So. I tell everybody, I was like, I'm not really doing anything. Other people are like, the promoters are giving me the chance to fight and paying money. The fans are showing up, paying money for the tickets, and that, fighters don't get paid if there's no fans. I'm just a guy getting punched in the face. So, I can get by without the money. People need it more than I do, and like I said, I'm in a position to help, so I help.
No, it isn't. We're obviously, like you say, it's something that you want to do, and people sometimes don't do stuff like this. Some people are, sadly, a lot of people are selfish. There is a lot of greedy people in the world, and I think the way society has driven our lives that's helped drive people to be like that. Not intentionally, but it's just the way greed has taken over. And I think when we hear stories like this, I think it helps make people maybe step back and go, do you know what? I probably could spare doing this or doing
whether
that,
it be
or
time,
money. It's only little things. For example, I recently was competing on an event, and one of the fights was a charity fight. What it was, a guy was fighting for the first time. He'd never fought before. He was I think he started off at about 105 kilos. And he wasn't in shape or anything. He was like in his 40s, overweight, 105 kilos, not like ripped. And he got down to 94 kilos. He got people out. He paid out of his own pocket. He'd never competed, never trained. Paid out of his own pocket to get training, one-on-one training from boxers and all sorts of coaches and stuff. And obviously people helped out. And it was all because of a friend of his that had a stroke and had like an operation done and everything. And it was just to raise money for him. And the whole ticket sales, he sold the most tickets for that event as well. Every penny was going towards helping this his friend out, to help out with maybe doing adjustments to their house that need because he's maybe in a wheelchair, need ramps etc. Just those little things that people don't realise the cost. The event itself, people could put money in. They were they did a raffle. People in the crowd could donate into a bucket and stuff like that. They raised on the night itself. They raised over £2,000, which I think it's about $3,500 ish.
It's about $3,000.
$3,000 then, depending on what the exchange rate is. But it's beautiful. It just shows that
there are individuals.
Yeah, that was a night of MMA fighting where people were trying to knock each other's heads off, but at the same time, it shows that there's a brighter side to everything.
There's plenty of people that will drop a coin into a bucket, but you need somebody to be holding that bucket, doing that thing, to encourage that effort from everyone else, and it's people like yourself that
Can start the ball rolling as well.
Yeah, you know.
And honestly, Aaron, that was the first thing I asked the promoter the next day. You know, after the event, I didn't. First thing I said to him was, "How much did you raise?" You know, and he was so made up as well. The promoter, he was so happy about it. You know, it was a touching story, and he won as well. The guy went and won his fight, which was, you know, it was just beautiful. You know, it was a nice way to
happy ending.
You know, it was a one-off. He's never going to fight again, but he went in and done it, and he's made up.
Yeah, apparently he's praying that everyone else doesn't have a stroke now.
But hey, it's what I think people need to sometimes take a bit of time spend a bit of time on their own and say, I have got the time to maybe make an effort with stuff. We've got
exactly. Not everyone has money, but sometimes you do have a spare half a day.
Yeah, we got Remembrance Sunday coming up in the UK, and do you know what? 2 minutes of silence isn't the hardest thing in the world to do, but little things like gestures.
I don't know.
Some
you
people
haven't been married, have you?
No, you haven't been. Yeah. But you know, I think stuff like this, I think people need to be made aware of to maybe make themselves look in the mirror and ask themselves questions. And Aaron, I think this is what this hopefully will do.
You know, I like I said, you know, I've never thought too much about it, like it's anything special I'm doing. But you know, I've had a number of people like say, like, you know, the charities and everything, you know, is real inspiring and everything. And, you know, it makes me feel good. And, you know, I have the belief, like, you know, all it takes to make a difference is, like, one little gesture, one course of action. You know, just one person can, you know, make a difference, because then it starts a trend. And, you know, if the things that I may say or do, whatnot, can, you know, start a trend to help others out, you know, that's good. That's good enough for me, regardless of anything else.
Yeah, and that's what I think people will listen to now, and they'll kind of be touched by it. And I think, honestly, Aaron, it is, you know, for you, it doesn't seem like much because you do it. That's the thing.
You imagine if one other person gets that seed planted in their head and says, you know what, I'm going to do something. Yeah. Bang.
It doesn't
not only if you help someone, you've helped inspire somebody else to help someone. You know?
They don't have to have an MMA bout. They can go and run a half marathon. You know, or something smaller even, but it doesn't matter. It's something.
Or even a mile.
Even a mile, yeah, a sponsored mile. It's only little things. But Aaron, you know, you're getting ready for the fight, and do you, when you compete, do you try to, you know, switch off from all of that? Do you switch off from what you're doing? You know, you know, will you not think about what you're doing it for? Will you think about just the fight? Is that something you can switch off from?
You know, that's a pretty interesting question, because my last fight, you know, it didn't turn out, you know, the best for me. I ended up losing in the second round, and you know, I told a training partner of mine, he's a real good friend and everything, and you know, I was sitting down talking with him, and I told him, I told my coaches too. I was like, I don't know what happened. You know, I felt great physically and everything. I did not show up mentally ready to fight, and I just, throughout the whole course of the fight, I told him I felt like a zombie, just going through the motions of everything, and I just couldn't explain it. And Jason Hyde was actually in my corner, and in between the first and second round, I mean, he smacked me on the chest a couple times. You know, he used some choice language a little bit that I won't repeat here, but he's like, you know, get into it, get your mind right, get into this fight. And I just had a deer in it, you know, I had to look like I was a deer in a headlight and everything, and I couldn't explain it, what happened and everything. And, you know, like I was saying, I was talking to a good friend of mine, and, you know, not to say it in any negative way or anything like that, but he's like, you know, I think, he goes, I think you've just gotten to the point where you're out there, and you know you're satisfied with doing something good. He's like, you're not necessarily out there for yourself as much. You know, you're just, you know, if you win or lose, you know, no big deal. You're still out there and you're satisfied because you did it for a good cause. You know, and like I said, it's not in any negative way. Like, I shouldn't be out there trying to do anything, raise money for somebody else, but. You know, like I said, it was a good point, because I'm out there. I have forgotten how to compete. You know, and you that's my main focus on going into this fight. The physical part has never been a problem for me. I've always been ready to compete. I've been in shape and everything. This time, it's just, I'm still doing the charity, obviously, but I'm going out there a little bit more for me this time. With this fight, I got to see if I can still compete and everything. My age is getting up there, and fighting has a short lifespan, anyways. And you never know when I make. Like I said, with this one, I'm going to go out there and try to just get back to the way I used to fight. That means going out and taking the guy's best punch. Then so be it. That's the way I used to be. Is I'd go out and take the guy's best punch just to show him that he could not beat me with it. If that's what it takes, I'm going to do it. I got to be out there and see if I can still compete. See if I can still take somebody's best punch and keep moving forward.
Beat him psychologically. Beat him psychologically by standing there going, "Is that it?" kind of thing.
Yeah, and getting your eyes back on the prize, which is get the win, and progress yourself as well.
Yes, sir. And everybody shows up. My family, friends. Everybody that supports me, and the families of the people that I'm doing the charity for and everything. And I always feel so bad. Everybody. Fighters always say they always apologize if they lose, and everybody's like, don't ever apologize. You didn't let anybody down. But kind of the way I started describing it, we apologize as a fighter. If we lose, we apologize because we know what it means for the family, friends, everybody be there and see us win, and they get disappointed to see us lose. They're disappointed to see us struggle. It's not easy for them. So we don't want to put anybody through that. So we feel sorry for that and everything. So with this one, hopefully I can walk away and let everybody leave the arena with a good feeling.
Hey, 21st of November. That's all you got to do is 15 minutes of everything, and then that's all you got to focus on now. And it's not that far away. You've got plenty of time to get that kind of mindset and determination in there. I think you know what,
and save a little thinking for yourself as well, because you're doing a lot of thinking for everyone else.
yeah.
Think about yourself as well. It's
be a bit selfish for 15 minutes
because you're important as well. It's not just your family and everyone that you're doing the good things for.
It is, and
Yes, sir.
it's going to be a huge night as always at Shamrock FC, as they always are. For people who want to watch the fight, they can on Shamrock FC website. But Aaron, if they maybe want to join on to you socially, like social media and stuff, maybe to talk about how you've helped maybe them in a way with maybe doing charity work or maybe inspired someone. How can they jump on to maybe give you a follow and stuff?
My Twitter, my username is AK Poston. On Instagram, my handle is _Poston. Instagram I use probably more than anything. Twitter, I apologize, but if anybody follows me on Twitter, all you're going to see for the last little bit of time is tweets about the Royals and everything. I'm a diehard Kansas City Royals fan, so I've been on cloud nine watching them go through the playoffs and everything. Probably for the last couple of weeks, that might be that all that's on there is tweets about the Royals and everything. But now that that's died down, I'm gonna find some other things to tweet about.
No, you can still celebrate it. Why not?
Oh man! I tell you what, Kansas City has been nuts. There was fireworks going off until 4 o'clock in the morning the other night when they won the World Series, and now they've got their celebration parade going on, and I'm watching it online. And I chose not to go. I was like, you know what? I've waited 30 years to go, and I'm not going to miss it. But then I'm not much for being like overcrowded, and I didn't figure I'd be able to get close enough to see anything anyways, because there was people camping out overnight just to get a good spot for the parade. And they said there's over 500,000 people there today.
That would be a bit tough to get a good spot.
And see more than anybody else will.
Yeah.
I know how you feel. I think a cage is overcrowded sometimes. 3 people, that's getting a bit many, to be honest.
Half a minute, that's quite a busy time. Yeah, I think watching it on TV is the best view you'll get, mate.
Oh yeah, I'm not missing anything, and I'm getting commentary with it and everything.
Exactly, they get the exclusive interviews that you won't, because if you're standing in the crowd, once you go past, that's it. So I think you made the right choice. I think you definitely made the right choice on that one. And hey, keep celebrating. There's no reason not to. And like you say, it doesn't happen every day, does it? So why not stop? Why stop? Sorry. Look, Aaron, have a great time. But before you go, what about sponsors? Have you got any sponsors out there who've helped you out with this camp?
Yes, sir. First, I want to thank my family and friends and everything. I like I say, and every time, my family and friends make everything worth it for me. I know I don't say it often enough, and I don't get to spend a whole lot of time with them, but I love them. I love all the support that they've ever given me. I want to thank everybody at my gym, American Top Team HD here in Kansas City. Everybody in there is just really, really supportive of each other. And, we talk about selfishness, but nobody in there is really we don't have selfish people in there. It's great. We're a real close-knit group of people and everything, close-knit group of friends. I want to thank my sponsors, Unbroken Chiropractic, and then Integrity Bell Bonds with Jason Self in Topeka, Kansas. One thing that I'll kind of tell you guys that's changed a little bit since the last time. Jason Self, he was my original coach, and I still get back and work with him as often as I can. He started up Integrity Bell Bonds, and I actually, talking about, everybody's always like, well, you're always getting in all these, doing these random things, posting and everything, and I actually got out with him. It's a different kind of sponsor. Like I said, he's a Bell Bonds businessman. He got me out on a whatever you say, a bounty hunt and everything. So I'm like right behind him, and we're getting ready. We're knocking on his door, and he's like, "Well, if he doesn't answer it, I'm getting ready to kick it in." I tell you what, that's a whole different kind of adrenaline rush that's coursing through you at that point in time. It ain't nothing like I've been in 30 fights throughout my career, boxing and MMA. I've never had that kind of adrenaline rush when he said, "I'm going to kick in the door." But, definitely want to thank him for everything he's always done, and that different kind of sponsorship, kidding me out and going on bounty hunts with him.
Hey, that's some awesome experience. An adventure. That's an adventure that you wouldn't have got if you hadn't strayed into this career, and that's like that's the great thing about MMA.
Do you know what? And you can't do that without criminals. So thank you to all the criminals out there for keeping people in business.
Like you just said there, though. I mean, I've met a ton of people in my life through being involved with fighting that I never would have met before. So many people have become real good, close friends of mine and everything. I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you guys. I wouldn't have a chance to raise money for Camellia, to raise money for Ruby like I did last time. I fully appreciate every experience I've had from fighting and everything.
Yeah, it is fantastic, and like I say, we get amazing experiences as well from it.
The fight community, even though it's getting bigger, it's still close.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
It's still small. It still feels small.
Yeah,
it does.
Yes, sir.
And honestly, Aaron, have a great time on the 21st. We'll be keeping a close eye on what happens over there as well on Shamrock Cards, as always, and just have a great time, for yourself. Yeah, that's the key. Have a great time yourself. Just 15 minutes of all.
Do a bit for you.
Yeah.
Oh yes, sir. I don't plan on walking out of this one like the last one. I'm going to come out of this one with my hand raised. I don't care how it goes. I don't care if it goes 15 minutes. I don't care if it goes 15 seconds. I'm coming out of this one with my hand raised. That's
the positive attitude we want to hear, my man. That's what we want to hear.
Sounds good to me.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for joining us, Thomas. You are fighting on the 21st of November on Shamrock FC. From what I can read, this is your debut, is it, I believe?
Well, kinda. My other two fights, I've been involved with Shamrock in 2 other fights just this year. One was in June, and the other one was, just last September 26th. And the first one against my opponent, first time in the ring, I cut like 20 pounds to do it, and my guy ended up coming in like 8 pounds over, and then the bout was over in like 36 seconds in the first round. I misstepped when I was checking a kick because I didn't want to throw it and low kick him again because I kicked him in the stomach and he bent over and I got called for a low kick. But then the second, so then I ended up tripping, falling as I fell, threw up a hand, hit him in the eye a little bit, and he turned around and ran across the cage holding his face, calling an eye poke, and the ref called it and said, you can't do that. The bout's over. You submitted by turning around. It was a legal punch. Thatcher wins. So it actually really sucked because it was like getting fighter blue balls. I'm a former Marine Scout sniper, so I've been 2 trips to Iraq and just getting all geared up to do something and then having it just kind of not really happen. I was definitely on edge. I was like, okay, I need to get this out. Let's sign up for another one. And this was this last one in September. And the guy that I was supposed to fight ended up getting, had to pull from the fight about a week before. Got jumped or something, got beat up. His face was all jacked up. He was really cool. He's like, but you're not touching my face, bro. Like, this is already permanent. You're going to make it more permanent. I was like, all right, yeah, I got you. He's like, but I got my younger brother fight. He's 19. He's been training for about 2 years. You know, he's trying to get his feet wet. I think he'll be good to go. And he was definitely 19. And I've met a lot of 19-year-olds, and this kid was just still, unfortunately, he was still just a kid. And we weighed in next to each other, and he definitely got psyched the hell out, was not all about it, and didn't show up the next day. So I showed up for, I showed up ready to go. And his whole fight team there from the Ozarks, it was the Archaic Fight Ways guys. Unfortunately, his whole fight team was like, we don't know where the fuck this dude went. He's not here. And I'm like, oh my god. So yeah, it was the second card. I sold like 45 tickets. I own a CrossFit gym here in Lawrence, Kansas, and have for the past 5 years with my brother. And we got like the whole gym to throw down and go and drive on out to the venue like 40 minutes away, and then this guy didn't show up, and they were my guys were pissed. So I immediately went over to I think Rob, the matchmaker, or Brian, one of the guys. I was like, hey guys, this really sucks because I know it's nobody here's fault. This is literally one guy didn't want to come play, stood me up at the altar, so to speak. But I would love it if you guys can give me a professional fight as soon as possible. I'm tired of cutting 20 pounds and having this not work out. I literally work out all day at a gym getting ready for this fight. I'm ready to go. Give me a professional one soon. And he was like, we could probably do that in January. Do you want to fight again in this upcoming one? I was like, absolutely. I'll go anywhere from 145 to 185. Find me something. Just give me something. He's like, all right, once this guy's coming out, I think he's 0-0. I know really nothing about him, but he's 170 and wants to bang, and I'm really excited.
Jacob Kelsey, yeah, he's hopefully, this guy doesn't pull out. And
I was going to say, last I heard, your other guy's still running. Yeah, even Forrest Gump's proud of him.
3 in a row, I'll be shattered if it's the third build up and let down. But at least this time, that was why I was like, I don't want to cut. I'll cut in a bigger circumstance or a better scenario, but these guys aren't cutting. There's no reason really to at this point in the game.
No, I was going to say, yeah,
it's good practice.
Hopefully, you can get the fight out of the way, and like you said, it's nothing it's not the promoter's fault. They can't dictate what the fighter does. That's the part that's out of their hands.
We actually have a thing in the UK, which is like a name and shame for fighters that don't show.
Yeah.
It's very good on the smaller card events.
It's good for the local circuit, because it helps promoters not get done over by guys.
It's not so much for somebody that does it, like say once, but you do get some that are repeat offenders.
Yeah.
and
it's
you know
a useful
they've done
page.
quite a few no shows,
Yeah.
you know, and it helps because it stops the frustration on the promoter
Yeah.
and
Well,
also
yeah.
the poor bastard that's had to do the weight cut and
Yeah.
everything, and then like, what do you mean? You know,
Yeah,
I'm not getting paid.
it happens.
you know.
But like I say, it was a 19-year-old kid. Maybe
yeah,
he just kind of
it's
he was still a bit
stepping into a man's world and
wet behind the ears, and he just maybe he just.
Oh yeah, this dude. I actually, I'm kind of glad he did, and I don't want to sound cocky or anything like that when saying it, but it was like I honestly feel like I'm gonna really hurt you, and I'm not here to do that. Like,
Yeah.
like I'm here to fight and put on a great fight. I'm here to like kill whoever I'm fighting against. But if you're not fighting back, or at least I felt it was really, really lopsided, and apparently he did too. Like, fuck this, dude. I was like, all right, bro. It was cool though. God, the main card that night, the guy who'd been in the UFC that had done a bunch of bouts and was
Bobby
really
Woltkamp.
famous back there. Yeah, Bobby Volker.
Yeah.
I met him in the back, and he was super cool. And basically was like, "Yeah, man, I've been there." I've actually, and told me a couple of his stories of literally going and showing up at the fight, and the guy, and being the main card, and being out in the ring waiting for the guy, and then he heard the crowd cheer for Bobby and walked out to the ring, walked around it, and walked right out in the back and just didn't do it. And Bobby's like, "What the fuck?" And went back there and was like, "Dude, we got like a thing, man. Are you like we're about to fight?" And the guy started crying, and Bobby's like, "Oh fuck!" Just kind of that awkward back out, like, "All right, bro, never mind." Like, I guess
Blinking, you missed.
Like,
Yeah, this sport, it does really kind of sometimes make or break a person. I think the best one was that. Remember
I
that
was going to
video?
say we were talking to one not so long ago, and they were saying about how they were in the change room and everything else. You know, they were doing a warm up, and they literally popped out for something, and just never came back.
Yeah, he popped out and never
Said,
came
"Oh,
back.
just
yeah.
go to the toilet or whatever," and never
yeah,
went. You know.
he never came back.
Never returned.
There's some crazy stories.
But
in it,
but there is the one you're talking about, the guy that gets into the cage and
And he
taps.
taps when the referee says, "Are you ready?" And he goes, "Yeah." And the other guy says, "Are you ready?" And the referee says, "Fight." And the guy bends down, crouches down, and taps straight away on the floor.
oh my god!
I swear that is legit.
It's on YouTube.
It is, yeah.
What I'll try and do is
We'll try and find the link. Yeah,
we'll try and find it. We'll post it on our
we'll post
our
it.
Facebook page.
We'll even post it to you. It's crazy.
I'll send you the link.
It is legit.
Oh, yeah,
it actually
dude,
did
that's-
happen. And you think the ref just said, "Are you ready?" You
And
clearly
he actually looks clear as anything,
yeah.
doesn't he?
So you think you clearly weren't because you just tapped a second after.
Clearly weren't.
Yeah.
I love the flood of emotions as they're walking in, and he's just like, "Worst decision of my life. This is just,
exactly.
I don't want to be here right now." I'm like, "No, you don't. This is, because I do. Now that I saw that you're feeling that,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's play this game."
Oh man, it's crazy the
Look,
psychological
I tell you
things
what,
that happen in
they
sport.
say it takes balls to get in the cage. It probably takes even more balls to go and tap the ground
Tap
before
the
the
ground.
fight even starts. You know what I mean? Because you know you're
Yeah,
going to get
that's-
ridiculed. Yeah, and you can never come out with the comments. Yeah, I'm a cage fighter. No, you're not, because I've seen you on
Oh yeah,
YouTube.
you're done, man. You're just, I mean, you just.
Yeah, move
Look,
away.
I was getting a lot of jokes about it too with that guy because they were saying, I was like, "How would you ever go talk to your dad again?" Like, yeah, I signed up and got really hyped up and just said fuck that. Like, what?
I was going to say,
Oh yeah, I remember when I was a boy, I did that shit. Signed up for a cage fight and then left the next day. Just didn't want to do it.
Must have been an
Yeah,
amazing.
this is my debut. This is my debut. That's what that all happened.
Now,
Debuting.
you said before about being ex-service, and do you find that this is sort of like
Hooray to you, by the way. You know.
Yeah. Thank you very much for what you've done, and we want to say though, have you done? Is this MMA helped get that kind of fix that you probably were you missing? Is that something about MMA that you kind of went from the force from serving, and then when you left, you kind of needed that kind of helps with that fix. You get that kind of adrenaline rush.
Definitely, you get a little bit of that adrenaline junkie, but it's such a compounded thing, the whole fighting game and just the martial arts in general. I love the competition aspect of the fight. I love competing. I've been competing my whole life. Not winning. Usually lost a bunch of my stuff growing up. Was a little fat kid growing up. But no, I started doing karate when I was 14. My dad's a 5th degree black belt in Okinawa and Goju-Ryu, and taught I got in a fight when I was 13. Literally the classic story. Got in a fight when I was 13. My dad's like, fuck this. I'm not gonna have my kids bullied when I'm whatever it is, like a 3rd or 4th degree at that time. He had tried to teach us karate when we were like 5, 7, and 9. I'm the middle of 2 kids, older sister, younger brother, and ended up drilling us in the front room to the point where my sister passed out. She was like in the sun from the window, locked her knees or something, and passed out, hit her head on the fireplace. My dad's like, we're done. We're done here. But yeah, and just completely shelved it until I was 13, and then I started going, and he had his whole it was from the KU, the University of Kansas's karate club back in the 80s and 90s, and they started their own club, Tokai Juku, and that's what we've been going off of is that. But yeah, he walked into this room in this little fitness center. He found where the club was still practicing, and he walked in this room in the fitness center, and he'd gotten the 2 instructor black belts, their black belt, when he was like a 2nd degree. So they immediately bow, and they're just like saluting him, and I was like, what the fuck's going on here? Everybody's bowing and yelling at Dad, and I was like, oh, Dad's in the mafia. What the fuck? This is out of control. So I had 4 years, white, green, brown, black, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, and then I got my black belt like 3 days before I went to the Marine Corps. And still to this day, like that getting that black belt was the driving force behind even going in the Marine Corps. Gave me the confidence to do that. Once I was in, gave me the confidence to go really far into it and do the whole sniper. I was a machine gunner and then a scout sniper, so I had to try out and then go to school and do all that shit. But yeah, it gave me the confidence to do that. And when I got out, CrossFit was my initial kind of fix to help me from going crazy. It didn't help me entirely. I ended up going to 2 mental institutions after getting out in 2010. After starting up this gym with my brother in the backyard, and ended up, I was diagnosed like bipolar, manic depressive, slightly schizophrenic, all of this, essentially from looking a therapist in the eye that's going, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I don't want to fucking be here. They're like, well, you need to be here. I'm like, fuck you. No, I don't want to be here. And that gets you, they don't like that.
No.
So, put me on a bunch of pills, put me on a bunch of shit, fucking Klonopin and everything under the sun. Well, the whole time I'm like, I don't want any of this. I'm not crazy. I was having a bad day. Please let me go. Didn't believe me. So, but I promised my mom I would finish through all the initial prescription stuff, and then when I was supposed to go get a refill, supposed to go talk to a psychiatrist, supposed to do all this shit in December of 2011. I said, fuck that. Re-enrolled in KU because I had basically been medically withdrawn from all my classes, and started teaching people back up again in the gym in the backyard in spring of 2011, and ended up getting straight A's, like pulled it off, had a good semester, had a bunch of new people, and then by that fall, we had probably 30 people that were coming regularly to the backyard, my brother Kyle and I. And we threw a barbecue and was like, hey, if anyone wants to throw down a lifetime membership, $2,500, we will we'll put that money to the first month's rent on our hopefully future facility. It was like 2,600 square feet or 3,200 square feet or some shit. And we had 3 people initially be like, hell yeah, and then 2 of them backed out and left the other guy hanging. And he awkwardly cashed in his child's fucking college fund and gave us the cash to be able to do it. Hey, I'm out of here. Can you get the 5 and the 6? Sorry, guys. Can you get the 5 and the 6 over there? From Flora and Peter? From Flora and Peter? I'm going to be on a phone interview at the 5. Okay, but I can do the 6. There it is. Sorry, trying to do. I have a couple perks that I can kind of run around to coordinate everything so I can run there. But yeah, we started back up. Business was good. Business was bad. Business was good. Just a roller coaster of a new business. Being in college, trying to figure out what I was doing. No fighting whatsoever, and no practicing of martial arts nearly. I did a little jiu-jitsu when I was in the Marine Corps. Did Marine Corps combatives, but basically it was wrestling in high school, karate in high school, and then Marine Corps Jiu-Jitsu and combatives, a little bit of MMA and beating each other up, and other than that, was just doing a lot of CrossFit, a lot of mobility, a lot of self-myofascial release stuff, getting really flexible and getting really strong at the same time. And then in 2013, we had enough people, moved into our new location, 6,000 square feet, and we're about to sign another 3-year lease on here. And it was back in February, I think, of this year that Zach Bucia, however you say it,
Yeah, Zach Bucia, yeah.
And he's on a 2-win streak right now. Knocked a dude out and then choked a Russian guy out up in Oregon just a little bit ago. But his next fight's up in December.
Yeah, Titan. He's on a Titan card. Yeah,
that's right. I have no idea. I hope it's a good one. But he came to the gym and was like, "Hey man," he came a little bit ago and was working out and was trying to get a thing set up here in Lawrence, like a fight club or a Muay Thai, MMA kind of a dealio. And was like, "Dude, I'm looking for a space. We're getting kicked out of ours. Do you have any extra room? Can we put these mats down? Can we get this going?" I was like, "Yeah, man, let's do it." And we did, and it's been fucking great, and we've completely rearranged our business now. We had a rock wall in the CrossFit gym, and Kyle and I, over the past 4 months, just said, fuck it, tore down the entire rock wall, and we're like, we're going full tilt on the fighting, and that's why I took my first fight, took that second fight, took this upcoming fight, and just said recently I might have a fight on December 6th, a Muay Thai, my first kickboxing one, for Blue Corner.
Okay. Okay, that's
get another little banger in. The goal being able to just, since I have a fitness facility and I got fighters coming to us, just literally train it like a full-time job in a way that a lot of people aren't afforded until they get sponsorships and all this other stuff. And luckily, it's a self-sponsored entity, so it should be a lot of fun. Zach's got a lot of great ideas on how to bring this MMA game into an ever-growing thing into the Midwest, and I'm just trying to do everything I can to accommodate it. We're having a smoker fight this Saturday, first one I've ever seen. Zach's, I guess, heard about it in California, and a sanctioned/unsanctioned amateur bout. We're getting a ring, we're putting it in the gym. My dad's smoking 10 pork shoulders. I don't know why it was called a smoker fight, but I was like, yo, we should do this so people kind of make a connection, because other than that, I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Just a weird name.
No, it's common, yeah, don't worry. We know what it is, yeah.
And so Kyle and I are, my brother and I are going to fight. He is 2 years younger and 3 inches taller and about 40 pounds heavier. So we're going to go pancreation and just fucking wail.
I'm getting now. I'm ex-service myself, and with yourself, I'm noticing this like element of you're always looking for that next buzz. You know what I mean? Like before you've stopped scratching the last itch, you're looking for your next one.
The only reason I'm doing this is to fight and beat Conor McGregor within the next couple of years, or anybody else that wants to do it.
Why not next year?
You got to shoot high.
Yeah.
You got to shoot high, and I can honestly see the fight path. It's just got to be a lot of W's, and do it in fashion. And we have very similar styles. I'm very fucking weird when I go out and fight, and it's just because I don't like to hang. I like to really get into almost a predator-prey situation. The sniper taught me about hunting people, and you can really do that. And it starts way before the actual fight when you start getting in their head and just doing all sorts of other stuff. But yeah, I love it. I love the mind games of it. I love every aspect of it, and would just absolutely love. He's 5'9", fights at 145. I weigh 170. I'm 5'9". I can cut to 145. I mean, it'd be a fairly even match as far as that's regards, but it's a big. Just gotta win.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't think you'd have to cut to 145. No, I think you'd have to cut to 155.
Yeah, he's going back up to 155. The cut to 145, it's too much for him. He originally fought 155. He's done 2 weight classes, but he's even said it himself. He's 155 is where he's going to be.
I reckon if he wins, the title, don't expect him to hang around.
No, he's going straight.
I reckon he runs straight to
155.
lightweight.
Yeah, just because it's killing him, that cut.
would be amazing, because I honestly want to meticulously work up. I walk at 170 right now. I'd like to, over the next 3 to 5 years, tack on another 7 to 12 pounds of some solid muscle and walk around at 80, and then cut, hopefully 80 with about 5%, 6% body fat, and then cut from there and just do a huge water drop down to 55, and then come in really, really swole.
Yeah, well, there's bigger cuts out there.
It's good to have having a plan like that's a good thing, and it's great to hear that you turn everything's kind of going in a good way for you, a good direction. You put it in place, and
this is the difference I think you see when it comes to ex-servicemen and that sort of like, I don't mean like I don't care sort of thing. It's like the fear is all part of it. You know what I mean? It's like you're looking for the next bit of excitement sort of thing. It's like it's all for fun kind of thing. Does that make sense?
It's 100%. Yeah, oh, hell yeah, it's for fun. I mean, and that's like one of the best things about the service that I had is it just constantly puts you in a testing position as far as how you're going to react to the situation.
Yeah,
it's really, hey, it's your perception of it, bro. Like, how are you going to take this? If you want to be up all night with no food and bitch the whole time, yeah, you're going to have a shitty fucking time. But if you stay up all night with no food and you're like, this is ridiculous, like, and it's just a big ongoing joke with you, at least at the end of it, everybody has a good laugh and you're not all butthurt about it.
Yeah,
but,
exactly. Yeah,
I like just coming in with a really positive mental attitude. I'm pretty hell bent on that as far as methodology.
We've experienced that because we recently spoke to another ex-Marine in Shane Crutchton, who he probably might have seen it's got a bit viral what he's doing. Have you seen what he's been doing recently?
Is he the guy that's offering to buy a ticket to the ball?
Bingo, that's the one.
Awesome. That's super cool. I love the drink ball.
Yeah,
so the guy would get along great.
He was great talking to him about what he's doing and what happened with when he left and everything and his attitude as well. It's literally almost like listening to him again. The way you talk, it's crazy. But it's really awesome to hear. And it's
just like a bucket load of positives.
Yeah, and it's also in the UK. It's coming up to Remembrance Sunday, where it's a big. I suppose it's a big time. It's a big thing for us here in the UK, obviously, around the world as well. And it's great to have ex-servicemen on and talking to them. It's great to hear.
Yeah. No, I love it, and I've been involved in a couple of service member connected and veteran connected nonprofit organizations, and the martial arts is definitely a missing component. They try to do the yoga, and I went through a yoga certification and a yogi and read a bunch of books on it and all this stuff, and unfortunately you just don't have that combative element, that really yang male characteristic, or at least a soft enough yoga practitioner who did enough hardcore stuff that people that are from the service can relate to. That's the big one I saw as I was in a yoga class with a bunch of chicks.
I was going to say, it's not a bad thing to get to watch them put themselves into some very interesting positions. Ian
McCall's a good one to listen to for that.
I went to yoga and I did get some good views.
Oh yeah, no, I'm all about yoga pants. Like everything was fantastic, and I'm that asshole with the fucking skull and the angels on fire on my shoulder, and then fucking literally two samurai killing himself with his second behind him getting ready to chop his head off with death before dishonor written on the chest. I'm just not the normal yogi that comes in and does it. But at the same time, I'm pretty good at it and kind of understand. And like, I've gotten really deep into the breathing philosophies, and I meditate every day. I've taught a bunch of people how to meditate, so I love playing all the games, and I feel that the fighting and the MMA and the martial arts are really one of the only venues that violent men, I should say violent, because there's a lot of Indian yogi men. Well, it was a male-dominated thing until the 1900s. They didn't allow women to do it. But yeah, until women kind of took it over and were like, yo, we're better at stretching than you, fuck you. We're like, damn it, they're right.
They're right.
Until that happens, until that happens, if you weren't violent, you could, find yourself through yoga. But once you kind of submit and they're like, hey, you can be civilized, or you can be fucking, or you can be a little feral, you can be wild, you can be whatever. Once you do that, hey, I want to be wild a little bit, and that entails, going to war and fighting and killing people. You're just being barbaric and being the human animal in its most yang form, fighting and killing. If you want to do that, well, you need some kind of physical fitness thing to be able to teach yourself how to use all of that real explosive fucking angry energy. So yeah, on your first question of, is it like a fix? Is the fighting like a fix? In the sense of like a drug fix? Oh, fuck yeah. It's it's a shot of adrenaline. It's
that's what I mean. It's
like, haven't been here, haven't heard the bullet in a fucking minute, which didn't hear very many anyway, but heard a couple, and that's all you really need. And yeah, it's great. It's a good fix for the adrenaline junkie, but I love the aspect of the martial arts in a whole as a self-teaching practice, and really the only reason I'm going and fighting and showing off, I hate showing off this stuff. I don't like people knowing that I fight, or that I do stuff, because then you get a bunch of animals, younger ones, males, they want to fuck with you. They want to, oh, you're fighting, oh yeah, give me a ball.
Trying to be dominant.
No, I don't want to fight any of you fucks.
Yeah, you can fuck with them sometimes. Yeah, you just got to be careful.
Just got to be right. But I am solely doing it really just to help our current community of people who want to work out and people who want to fight and practice martial arts in our little Kansas town. And I think this is a really cool venue, and I like being my gym's champion, or at least trying to be. If you fail, you fail. At least you give it a shot.
Yeah, and do you know what? I think everyone needs to embrace a little bit of crazy in their life every now and again.
Hell yeah.
And if people want to go and train then at your gym, where is it exactly then? How do they get in contact with the gym? What's the details?
CrossFit Lawrence. So just like all these CrossFits all over the place, we're the first one in Lawrence, Kansas, which is the home of the Jayhawks. We won the Kansas championship back in like 2008. We're a pretty big college basketball town. But yeah, if you Google it, CrossFit Lawrence, you'll find our website. You can hit me up at info@crossfitlawrence.net or Thatcher, or give me a call. All the info's on the website, crossfitlawrence.net, and we're pretty open. We're open 5 days a week, 5:30 in the morning till 10 at night. We got, I think, 5 or 6 CrossFit or lifting classes and 2 martial arts classes a day, and then we're open on the weekends as well. So trying to make it a big popular place for people to be able to come in and practice their craft and just learn off of each other.
I was going to say, anyone in the area who wants to try something out, give them a shout. Check up the website. Also, Thomas, what about yourself for your personal MMA little venture that you're going on? Have you got social media that people can jump onto to follow?
I made my Facebook public.
Yeah.
So anybody can look at it. If you want to creep on Thomas Thatcher, there's a lot of us out there. I'm probably the youngest, and I have the longest hair. So
okay.
There's a couple old fat, like, I'm a lawyer, Thomas Thatchers. I'm not that guy. I'm the young dude on this one. I think I'm like sitting on a rock or something. But if you Facebook stalk my shit, you'll see a bunch of pictures of a weird long haired guy who drives a Civic with no doors in Lawrence, Kansas, and is really eccentric and likes to fight.
Right. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. And also, Thomas, you got any sponsors helping you out then? And obviously, do you want to thank your coaches, training partners, and friends and family?
Yeah, you love the friends and family. It's like I said, it's a family practice martial arts, so brother and sister are really big as far as me practicing my style. Anybody who comes to my gym, I train with everybody all the time. I 2 seconds before I got on the phone with you guys, I was training a 74-year-old who's an animal who just went and ran a half marathon and then a marathon the next day. and she's just getting into bodybuilding and wants to do like supersets and drop sets and shit. This chick is out of control. But yeah, any like Cheta Sales, the guys that have our facility in their parking lot, basically our landlords, so to speak. Zach BC, Trevor Rivers, the two, the jiu-jitsu and the Muay Thai. Trevor being jits, Zach being Muay Thai. Dwayne Lewis, he's got a lot of good fighters. He's a great mentor for me out here as far as martial arts. And then other than that, just CrossFit Lawrence, we're locally grown. It's the entire community. We got probably 20 lifetime members that have given me a chunk of money to help me get this shit going. So it's really fighting for all of them and giving the people a good show. Hopefully having a
Thomas,
good time with it myself.
And we want you to have a great show. We want you to have a great time and have a great experience and have a great fight when you do take on Jacob on the 21st. Also, thanks for coming on and give us some of your time and having a good laugh and a chat with us, man.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and yeah.
Okay, that was Aaron and Thomas there. We're going to talk about the little thing called UFC 193 that just happened.
Yeah, little show going on down under. Yeah, they try to break a few records, and by all accounts, they say they've broken them. I don't know what figures are out yet. I don't know if on social media they've announced many.
Attendance, it did beat Toronto. Now, they didn't fill it because the attendance was 59,000. Now, that stadium can hold, or they could have held, 70.
Yeah.
So they were short 11,000.
I think I know why. I think some of those plastic chairs would have broken.
I think they probably did. Now, the tickets weren't that expensive for the card itself. So
yeah, they definitely
surprised.
did everything they could do to try and break the record.
So they did break it. I think Toronto was it Calgary? I can't remember where it was now. The Pierre Shields card, I think it was 55,000. So they beat it by 4. So it's still up.
Yeah.
But
it's not a massive change.
It's not a huge change, but the thing is, they'll take it. Dana, being Dana, he opens his mouth, and you've got to take Dana with a big pinch of salt. He was a bit silly because he said, "Oh, I broke all these records." The problem was it didn't, because he said the gate took 9 million. Well, Dana, we all know that I know. Mike Allen informed you that the Pierre and Shields card took 12. Last time my maths is 9.
12 is higher than 9.
Yeah. Now, I don't know what school Dana went to, but it probably isn't the same one.
Maybe he was talking Australian dollars and
yeah.
Canadian. I don't know. Canadians have dollars, I suppose.
Canadian dollar, yeah. Yeah, it's Canadian dollar. Yeah, so Dana, I think he's saying a lot of records are broken. There were some records actually broken in fights itself, but yeah, he made a big deal on that. So
yeah, apparently Holly Holm broke the oh shit record for how many oh shits said within 5 seconds of each other.
Viewership though was really strong for the prelims. It was like 1.3 million in the States. That is for the States.
It's good to see. Yeah.
On Fox Sports now, that is good for the States side because they numbers usually are about around 900,000, so it's good. Which what blew me away more was it wasn't a strong prelim card. In fact, I think it was a weak prelim card.
Yeah.
It was weak.
Yeah,
it's not little. It was weak.
Yeah, it didn't have the guts in it.
It didn't have some. It wasn't.
It
strong.
It was all head and no guts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or less guts, should we say?
So it was a bit weak, but anyway. There was some solid performances. Like I say, Jake Matthews got the win. Super happy for that guy. Gian Vellante putting Peroche to sleep. That was a good win. There was a couple of notable fights, but we're going to talk about the classic that happened. That I think everyone's going to talk about for years to come. I think it took us all by surprise how epic this battle was. It was Stefan Struve, Gerard Rochelle.
Yeah, if anyone got through that, pat yourselves on the back.
Yeah.
You are tougher than Dan Henderson back in the day.
I tell you what, that was awful to see. But the problem you've got with that fight is for Gerard Rochelle, he's winning. The guy's got an impressive UFC record.
He's not setting the world on fire, is he?
He's having no one's going to give him a title shot, even if he keeps winning, because he can't. He's not finishing people enough. He is finishing them, but not enough guys. He just grinds people out. For Stefan Struve, though, where does Stefan go from here? Because, by the way, Rashold won by decision. Yeah, and I want to say it was decision.
Yeah, I know you didn't get to the end of the third
I
round,
don't
guys.
even know how the judges stayed awake till that fight. But yeah.
Apparently, the only person who was in at the end of the third round was Stefan Struve.
So what does Struve do? Because you know
it's
what?
a tough one.
Dude's not in the best
Do
place.
you know what? He might just get cut.
I don't think he'll get cut. In fact, no. In fact, I'll say it. He won't get cut. He won't get cut. But what does Stefan Struve do for himself? Because he's in a really tough bind. Because he just beat Big Nog, who was at the last stage of his career. He lost to Gerard. The pair of them were in the same situation. I don't know where those two guys are going to go.
Yeah,
I don't know where.
See, the thing
Stefan's
is right. At what level does he fight? Does he, who do you match him up with next? Anthony Hamilton, something like that.
I don't know.
Do you know what I mean?
Struve, I haven't got a clue. It's a tough one with Stefan. I don't know.
Do you know what? If I was
doing.
Stefan, it would probably be actually quite good for him to get cut. Go off to Bellator and fight in some fights that you can go out and smash.
Yeah, it would be,
You know
but
what I mean?
he won't be going anywhere.
You need a few more to go as well.
They'll keep Stefan definitely the UFC.
But he's a European heavyweight, and there's not a lot of European heavyweights.
But it's his age. It's his age as well. He's not exactly at the latter stage. He's actually in theory reaching his kind of prime for that weight class in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, well, yeah, they do peak later in life.
Yeah, you do peak in your early 30s when you're a heavyweight. But
Yeah.
the next fight on the card, which was Uriah Hall versus Robert Whittaker. Uriah Hall stepping in to replace Michael Bisping, who couldn't fight in this fight. It literally was one of them matches where it was a decision win for Robert Whittaker, and he breaks in the top 10 now of the middleweight division.
But the thing is, Uriah Hall can't string it together.
No, he can't.
He comes out with an awesome win against.
Go on, who was it, Mike? Come on. What, Lady Gaga?
Yeah. I'll let you have that one. That's good.
I know it was.
But anyway, when that fight that he won.
Gegard Mousasi.
That's it. Yeah. So he does really well in that fight, and then comes up in a fight that is, you would think, more winnable for him.
Yeah.
And can't put it together.
It was really strange because, like I said, but the thing with Uriah Hall is
I think it's his head. I think it's in the head.
He is such a yo-yo fighter.
I would like to know if he's got, number one, a mind coach. Yeah. Number two, if he's listening to him.
I think he does have a mind coach, but I believe he does. But the thing is, Robert Whittaker, he's so yo-yo. But Uriah Hall.
We're not trying to take anything away from Robert Whittaker.
But Robert Whittaker, though, I tell you what, he's doing what he needs to do. He beat Tavares. He's just beat Uriah Hall. The kid is just grinding out those. He's getting those wins.
Yeah, he's
now. I don't think Robert Whittaker's going to come up too well when he faces the higher ranked in top 10.
Yeah, the people that can put it all together and
I think
keep the head in the right place and all that.
But I think for Hall and Whittaker, their probably places are going to be where they are now anyway. I can't see them much further.
It seems to be that when that next level where people are getting everything together, the mind's right, the body's right, the skill level's right, the cardio's right, they've got everything going right. And see, I don't know. They're all going to stick around that sort of 15 to 10.
Do you know what? It was a really good fight. Whittaker, he did very good striking, very good with his footwork, his angles, and also just with the grappling exchanges. Whittaker just seemed that, I think probably fighting on an Australia card, I think it helped where he was, and so it was the crowd as well. But I think he just had that little bit of a split second ahead of him, which was great. But the next fight up is the rematch.
Yeah.
After the epic fight last time.
To be honest, ignoring the four girls,
Mark Hunt, Bigfoot Silver.
This is the fight that everyone was thinking, is it going to be another epic? We didn't actually pick it as being another epic, although we were looking forward to it.
I was, and Mark Hunt versus Bigfoot Silver, and it went Mark Hunt's way.
Yeah, Bigfoot, since he's coming off the testosterone, has looked more vulnerable.
Yes.
And Mark Hunt doesn't need you to be vulnerable anyway.
No.
You could be tough. This guy knocked Roy Nelson cold.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the sort of power this guy can throw.
But Mark Hunt came in shape.
Yeah, he's looking good. You see him in the face, and just like I watched a clip of him walking on one of the embedded, and just walking around with his t-shirt on. I was looking at him and I was thinking to myself, yeah, that belly's not there.
No.
Now this is before the final weight cut and all that.
You can see the outline of his abs.
Do you know what? He's so hats off for so late in his career.
Yeah, 41.
Do you know maybe he can do another title run because he is in a division where you probably can have 3 or 4 title runs because the heavyweight top echelon is
Small.
tiny.
Yeah, Mark Hunt knocked out Bigfoot Silver. It was a beautiful display from Mark Hunt's side of things. He threw a leg kick. I tell you what, he threw 2 leg kicks, and by bloody fucking hell, that was a noise he made. Like, I tell you, that they were just like tree trunks getting slammed into somebody. It was, I tell you what, those just 2 kicks alone. I was happy seeing him throwing leg kicks a bit more. I think he should do, because he's got his grappling's improved as well. So if someone were to maybe try and take him down when he throws the kick, his defense is getting back up a bit of a higher grade these days. But yeah, the fight, it was completely different. They were feeling each other out for so long. You didn't really see. You didn't
The
really
to and fro sort of.
You didn't see the kind of recklessness, even though it was a 3-round fight, not a 5-round. Last time it was 5 rounds, so 3 rounds. He had less time to get the kind of foot down and make a mark. Bigfoot Silver, though, he did throw some strikes, some good movement, but the problem was he was on that back foot, and Mark Hunt was just clocking, just walking him down, and it was hardly, if you get the fight statistics, guys, there was not that many strikes thrown in total. It was probably, I think, maybe between the pair of them, 30 in total strikes. It was tiny, but you saw Bigfoot Silver got a big overhand right on Mark Hunt, and Mark Hunt came over with a left hook, which that, I think, people didn't realise the left hook, how much of an effect it had on Bigfoot. And then Mark Hunt followed up with a right, which looked like nothing, but it just really got the equilibrium, really, of Bigfoot Silver. Bigfoot Silver went down. It was really, I would say, it was a TKO, but he just came and finished him up with a couple of shots afterwards, and the referee stepped in. But for Bigfoot Silver, 9 fights in the UFC and only 3 wins. I find it really hard for the UFC to find a reason to keep holding Bigfoot Silver.
And he's getting knocked out.
Well, he didn't get knocked out cold. He didn't get knocked out cold.
No,
this
but what I
one.
mean is he's getting knocked out. He's getting stopped and finished, and he's looking quite vulnerable.
He's the only
You think
guy.
to yourself, like, I don't know, I'd kind of like to see the guy retire.
I would like to see possibly a pink slip fight between him and Struve.
Yeah, because either one is not going to
If either one lose,
kick the living...
well,
yeah,
no, it's not that. If either one of them lose, well, do you know what, lads? You should be kicked probably anyway. So I think a pink slip, fight between them two would probably fare pretty well. I think that'd be a good idea to do that. But I don't know. With Bigfoot Silver, after his Fedor win, I kind of feel that was his moment.
Yeah.
He had his moment.
He could have gone out on that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was his moment. Well, he wasn't going to go out on that because
No. No one gets a win like that and then just says,
Stops.
right, I'm going to stop now.
And his biggest moment in the UFC was the Overeem fight. I think
yeah.
bar them
Where he
two.
won, yeah. And obviously the Mark Hunt fight, first one.
Yeah,
That would have been an epic. You know, giving Dana White his fight of forever or whatever.
No, what I mean by as in moment, I feel like wins, Mike. I mean like
Yeah.
But
But
when he looks back, he's not going to sit there.
Yeah, but there's
and go,
lots of moments.
I had a draw. You know, you're not going to remember.
No.
You remember your win.
But he might turn around and say, I had an epic fight.
Yeah, but
Anyway,
right.
you know, they're important. There's lots of things that are important.
Okay, Joanna Jacek against Valerie Letourneau. Okay, the fight itself was epic. Okay, and it's not getting enough attention as it should do. Joanna won the decision, 5 rounds, and she won it like 5 rounds, 5-0. You know, what do you say about Joanna?
Yeah, the girl is frightening. You know, she was outsized, by Letourneau. It was, and yet she sort of handles it all. And I can't see a girl in that division at this current stage right now that I would say, yeah, she could probably do it. It's
Claudia Gadelha?
well, sorry, yeah.
Having a laugh.
All right, so yeah, all right. Sorry, yeah, all right. I get that wrong. Sorry, yeah. Claudia sort of, no. Yeah, Claudia aside, then, yeah. That probably is the only fight right now that.
Right,
That-
but the fight itself, fantastic fight. Joanna Jacek, like I say, her discipline in the striking, I think people won't notice it as much. I did mention it online. I was talking to a couple of people about it. You know, the appreciation people need to have for Joanna is she was so precise and so clinical with her striking that she didn't switch off in the 5th round. She never went this kind of hard in a fight, and that 5th round she was still going hard, precise striking. Now Valerie was throwing strikes back, to be fair, credit to her, she did crack Joanna a couple of times, but you could see she didn't have that KO power. Joanna was just picking off Valerie, and I tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, it showed in the stats where Joanna set the record 220 significant strikes in a title fight, and I think off the top of my head it's the most by a striker, one person. I think it was, and then the leg kicks as well. She landed the most leg kicks as well in the fight, where I think she landed something like 40 leg kicks. I think it was. Yeah. Now, I'll tell you this much: 4 leg kicks alone is enough to ruin your day. So 40. I do not even want to have I don't even want to know how Valerie's leg is feeling right now.
I think Valerie can actually take a lot of praise. I think her stock goes up in this fight.
It does. She can take a hell of a beating. Like her face. Oh, if you look at her cheek, her right
that
cheek,
eye is
it swelled like a
mess,
like a balloon. But do you know what? Joanna was she wasn't even trying to.
Apparently, the leg's not in a good state either.
No, but Joanna wasn't even trying to go crazy in the fight. She wasn't trying to just. Oh, she's got a bit of, like. There was a couple times when Valerie was trying to shake that leg off. Joanna just stayed calm and just kept on, just taking away, just picked her apart. It was a meticulous performance that will really get outshone by the main event, which is a shame, because you need to look at the card as an individual. You need to look at fights as individual rather than one fight like the main event. I know the main event was a big moment, but Joanna's performance, sadly, will probably go under the radar a bit.
On any other card.
Yeah, it will. It
would have.
It's a shame. Yeah. So we'll go to the main event then. Okay. So, Mike, you can talk about this.
Yeah, right. Ronda Rousey. Okay, so if we turn around and say, a Ronda Rousey fight, girl turns up, goes out there and wins every second of the whole fight, smashes it, you'd say, Ronda Rousey then. But no, Holly Holm went out there and owned the whole fight from start to finish. Mm-hmm. Ronda Rousey, I personally believe her aggression let her down in this fight. Too much aggression. The fact that she just brought the fight to Holly Holm, and Holly Holm was just able to keep backing off throughout the straight shots, and just footwork, everything, and just the fact that Ronda Rousey just no head movement, just took 74% success rate on Holly Holm.
Mm-hmm. So you think that Ronda going forward was a downfall? That's
no. I mean, part of it. Obviously, her striking ability compared to Holly Holm is a chasm difference. It's like a Grand Canyon apart. Yeah. It really showed. It was. Yeah, but I think it helped. I think something should have definitely changed. Listening to the Ronda Rousey's corner was frightening. They all thought that everything was going fantastic, and yet it was like, I don't know what fight are you watching? Like, do you know who you're watching? It was scary. They should have changed something. She came out in the second round the same as she did in the first round. Trying to chase it down.
The thing people who might not understand from a technical standpoint, and I'll give a bit more. I'll give a bit of a technical point of this fight then. Holly Holm's striking is superior due to the fact that she has got that boxing background. She's got Ronda Rousey will never have the same level of striking technical ability as Holly Holm. It's
like Holly Holm won't have Rousey's judo.
Yeah, it's never going to happen. So that was always on the card. Whenever that fight started, Holly Holm always had the better striking. It was going to be the case. Now, Ronda had the better grappling. In this fight, you did not see a Ronda Rousey of old where she would run in, risk taking a couple of shots to back up, because when someone's backing up, the strikes are never. You can't hit as hard going back as you can going forward. Okay, now Ronda Rousey would sometimes take a couple of shots to close that gap, to clinch up and to get you down. Now there was a time when Holly Holm actually in the fight got Ronda down, with a takedown. It was due to Ronda's poor technical. Basically, it was Ronda's poor technical ability, in the sense of when Ronda kind of tried to overpower. She was trying to overpower Holly with a technical hip toss. The problem was Holm was actually able to match her in the strength. Now, the reason why I didn't follow through is because Ronda's hips were higher than Holly's, and in judo you have to have your hips below your opponent to get that kind of momentum to toss them. And Ronda tried to use power and it didn't work. And you know what? Holly got her down. It's tough titties. Now, Holly Holm was very clever though. As soon as it went down, she got straight back up and backed off and started the fight again. Now and also another note is Holly Holm is a southpaw. Okay, Ronda's footwork is not as well. It's not going to be the same level as Holly Holm's because Holly Holm's got a lot of years experience in boxing. Now, when you fight a southpaw, what you've got to do with the way Holly would be standing is her right foot is going to be her lead foot. Okay, if you're an orthodox fighter, as in Ronda Rousey, her left foot is going to be her lead foot. When you're fighting a southpaw, you do not want your lead foot, as in Ronda's left foot, to be on the inside of Holly's right foot. Okay, because what happened in that fight was the perfect example of it just opened up for her to land that left straight of Holly's on Ronda all the time. In the second round, it was very profound that she was able to land that. And that was due to Ronda's poor footwork. She was not getting her foot on the outside, which takes the alignment of your head away from that left straight. And it was huge in that fight. People who don't know the technical side of things, they will not realise how big of a deal that was. Wow. And when we get to the grappling side of things, Ronda Rousey was not using her game on judo enough. It was really low.
I want to elaborate a little bit more on this. There were cracks before. Like if you look on it, I think that her psyche going into this fight was not right. You look at her the weigh-in. Something went wrong with her at the weigh-in, and I mentioned this to you afterwards. Now, I thought it was important, but I didn't think it'd be enough. I thought 80% Ronda Rousey would still be good enough to beat 100% Holly Holm, okay? But I was aware of it, and I spoke to you, didn't I? And I said, look, I think there's something at this weigh-in that was important, but not important enough. I thought she'd still handle it. But the cracks were there, and they were really, like, you look at the way she spoke, she was like, oh yeah, she's put her hands on me and that. At the end of the day, I know the rule is you don't put hands on somebody at the weigh-in, but at the same time, you're a fighter. You should pretty much be able to handle anything. And the fact that she then kind of, for me, she kind of started to crack then.
Yeah, but I
still thought that she was still going to be able to handle the fight.
But I mentioned to you though, when you're cutting weight, Mike.
Yeah,
I'm telling you right now.
I know.
Well, you don't, but your temperament is zero in a way.
Okay, but it carried on, and it carried on, and it carried on to now. It was still there after she recovered, and it was there at the start of the fight. No touching the gloves or anything.
You're telling me that's the first time she's done that? No touch of gloves.
But this time, no. I'm saying all the way through the lead up to this fight, okay, there'd been like a mutual respect. Now you say, oh yeah, but when you're cutting weight, you're touchy and all that. Okay, so isn't Holly Holm allowed to be touchy as well? She's cutting weight as well.
Yeah.
So couldn't Ronda Rousey turn around and say, okay, maybe she did this because she's cutting weight as well, and that she's still a good girl. She's just that it wasn't. She still had that thing in her, and there was that.
But that's her psyche of how
she
she likes to beat fighters.
But, okay. But I tell you what, you watch a lot of fights, and there's a lot of fighters that don't get on. They will still touch gloves at the start of a fight.
Yeah, but Ronda's never touched gloves. I don't get this, Mike. I don't know why you make a big deal about
but
touching
anyway,
gloves.
but,
it's
yeah,
really
but the thing
weird.
is
she's done it before in other fights, so it's nothing new.
But you look at it, the cracks were there.
Yeah,
and I think personally, there's something else out there. Now, taking nothing away from Holly Holm. She fought a fantastic fight. I think there's something else, maybe even not in her life, but maybe in the training camp, etc.
Okay, there
and
could be.
I think there's cracks coming in, right. And now it's starting to show.
There could be, but the no touching gloves, Mike, is not a new thing. So
No.
No.
I'm sorry, but what I see is different to. We all see things, but I'm looking at it from a psyche point of view.
I am. She's always never touched gloves. I don't get this. It's nothing new.
No. I thought it was different though. I honestly thought this time was different, and she started to show her cracks at the weigh-in, and I think these cracks are coming from outside of this fight.
Holly Holm did a stellar job, and she's the first fighter as well that Ronda Rousey has competed against who comes from an elite camp in Jackson and Winkelman, and they obviously worked meticulously on the style that Rousey has and literally the little nooks and crannies to defeat her. And the game plan was
it's a full MMA training.
You could see Yeah. But the thing is, you could see the game plan and how they were going to execute it, and they executed it dead on. You know, they used the footwork that Holly already had by keeping that range, because Holly had Holly had the reach, and she always had that on Ronda during the fight.
Yeah, and they were very vocal in saying that they have seen these holes in Ronda Rousey's game, which. Okay, yeah, they were clearly there as we saw in the fight, and Holly Holm exposed them for the world to see. All you need now is the footwork and the striking ability to capitalise on them. Yeah. If you haven't got the footwork and capitalise, doesn't mean you're now going to win her if you just back off and throw some punches out.
No,
you know it's
now obviously at the weigh-in as well. Another key note is Ronda's physique was way different than every other time she weighed in. She looked, if I'm honest, she looked a bit flat on the weighing scales,
and her legs. Her legs looked.
She's never looked like that on a weighing scales for the UFC.
Yeah,
so I'm not sure if there was something up with the weight cut itself, or maybe just a training camp. But the thing is, I think that yes, there may be faults in Ronda's training camp and faults on her side of things, which then benefited Holly, because Holly's brought her A game. Holly turned up and performed to her best.
Yeah, we can't take anything away from Holly.
And it was a great performance by Holly. Like, she dominated the fight. But what was beautiful was about that fight was Holly. People knew about her head kicks and the way she can kick, and she can. Now, in the first round, she was very clever in not wasting and throwing that head kick. She waited for that chance to throw the head kick, and it arose itself. Yeah. She never forced it. She just used patience to throw that head kick, and when she did, it was the only time Ronda went down. And I tell you what, credit to Holly there. She showed incredible fighter IQ in that sense.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And being able to turn up for important fights, which is she has done more times than most.
Because she's done a lot of boxing.
Yeah, with the boxing, she's been there when pressure's on, like, you know, defending her title, challenging for titles, etc., etc. You know, she's gone into an important fight and lost before, so she knows all. Now, okay, we're not talking. I know it wasn't in MMA, but it was still a big stage. You know, it's still where it was super important. Whereas Ronda Rousey hasn't had that loss before in MMA, and in judo, you do lose a lot of fights as well, and it's okay. You know what I mean?
Well,
it's not okay, but do you know what I mean? It's,
she has had that loss. She didn't win gold at the Olympics.
Yeah, no. I know there's like super important times and all that, but it's like you can fight the same girl 3 times in judo, and you can fight a lot of girls 3 times in judo, unless you're a guy.
Yeah.
But it's I still believe that there's something going on outside. I think there's like the training camp. You know, is it the relationship thing? Is it the gym thing? Is it the films? Is it the pressure of being champion? I mean, you know. And not only the pressure of being champion, she is top dog in UFC, I would say. She, you know, is that now just starting to wear on her?
Well, we'll talk about that in a little bit more then in a minute. Before we talk about that, we have no idea what the pay-per-view numbers is. We won't find out for a little while. But we're going to step...
Regardless of what Dana White might say, he often gets it wrong.
We're going to... Yeah, he'll say like they sold like 6 billion pay-per-views.
Yeah, and they're buying a fleet of Concords.
We're going to jump now to having a couple of guests on. We've got Ryan Roddy, who recently, like we said, appeared on the TV show SAS, Who Dares Wins. And we've got his teammate...
Lover.
And bromance and lover in Tommy Quinn, who himself, he is fighting Matt Inman. Made for the Cage, 28th of November.
He hasn't seen Ryan Roddy since the end of the show, apparently.
Nope. And
but he's been there.
We're going to put them on for you now to listen to. Right. Ryan, thank you very much for giving us some of your time to chat today. Firstly, congratulations on not an MMA-related success, but you recently went on to do SAS Who Dares Wins, which was a television show, and you kind of passed assessment is the best way to put it. But do you want to explain to people at home exactly what it entailed who didn't watch it maybe, or what it was, or why even you did it?
Yeah, so basically the show was to see if civilians could pass selection, okay, and selection in the SAS takes about 6 months. And we did like an 8-day course, so we didn't do the real thing, obviously. But we got as close to it as you can get without actually doing the actual selection process.
And how was it then? Go on, let's get let's be honest.
How tough was it?
Yeah.
It was horrendous. It was the worst thing I've ever done. Easily. Yeah, easily the worst thing I've ever done. I've had lots of hard fights and hard fight camps and things like that, but it was like that times 100. It was unbelievably tough. We had no sleep, nowhere near enough food. I lost about 5 kilos in 8 days, which is quite a lot. And I had everything they gave me. I had as much as I could, but 5 kilos weight loss straight away. And it was just non-stop, hour after hour after hour after hour.
And go on.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, right, I'm ex-military myself. I'm a military boy, so, hats off to anyone that wants to have a crack at anything like that. Has there ever been a desire in yourself to sort of, like, go down the military path? Obviously, you get people that have things outside of the military. They always fancied it, but there was enough keeping them out, shall we say.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
Like, it's tricky for me because growing up in Northern Ireland, especially where I grew up, right in sort of the middle of things, the military, it's not quite as easy as it is for people in England, and that sort of plays a part. And I think there's a part of me that has that want to do something in the military, or at least that kind of lifestyle. But I've just sort of stayed away from it, I don't think I could actually do it in reality. And then this show was kind of like a perfect segue for me between the two, I got the taste of it, but I didn't have to actually do it.
I was going to say, it's not because the forms were too hard to fill in, is it?
Sorry?
It's not because the forms were too hard to fill in, was it?
Yeah, well, that's why I started fighting, because there's way less forms. You just have to get in there, weigh in. As long as you can read, like, your weight in kilos, you're sweet.
to be honest with you, they don't let you in if you do fill the forms in right. That's how I got in. I must have filled it in wrong, and they went, "Yep, he'll do. He'll run at the enemy."
Exactly. That's what they're looking for. And I honestly, it was I've always like had an admiration for it, and I've always been drawn towards those kind of challenges, And I see people doing stuff like Tough Mudder and endurance races, and I always fancied a crack at it because of my MMA career. I was always so focused on that I didn't really have time. But this came up, and I thought this is a unique opportunity to have it filmed, and I can always look back on it and remember it. That was kind of the main reason why I did it, because you could do things like this, but to have it actually filmed and have the real guys there and be under that pressure, it added to it.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I can sympathise with the Northern Ireland thing. I actually did serve 4 years in Northern Ireland. I was a bit of a crazy idiot when I was back in my younger days, shall we say, and I can remember, like, we'd go out and we'd have our, like, cover stories, I mean, I was being from the Isle of Man, I had an excuse, so I'm over from the Isle of Man because it's good nightlife and stuff like that. But you'd have girls coming up to you, and normally at that age they'd ask you what car you drove or something like that, but these girls would come up to you and say, "Are you Protestant?" or something like that, and you'd be like, have I got to be religious or something?
No, I'm just short. So
all I want to do is get laid. You know what I mean? And I've got to join. I've got to go to church or something first. You know what I mean? It's like, forget the condoms. Have you been to church today? But yeah, I mean, I can imagine. I mean, how have you actually found? What's the feedback you've had from back home? If they generally, don't mean to push you into a sticky situation here, but have they been good?
It's been good. I grew up in a Catholic background, but in a Protestant area. So right from the off in the early '90s and stuff, as you'll know, obviously serving there, things were tricky. And then, like, whenever I was growing up, I wouldn't have been nationalist or Republican, but I would have, because I just grew up on that side of the fence. You would have a certain bias towards the military, And then as you get older, I went to a mixed school, which I was very lucky, because when I went to a mixed school, I got to know both sides of the community, and that helped me massively. But even at like 16 or 18, I wouldn't have had the sort of the maturity to be able to do something like this, because I would have seen it. I would have seen it as a problem. And then living in England for 8 years, I guess that sort of allowed me to break away from that.
Yeah.
narrow-mindedness. You know.
To be honest with you, though, I've had rocks thrown me from both sides of the fence, so...
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong,
It's complicated.
the Catholic pile is bigger, but there's still a few from the Protestants.
Exactly, yeah. You can't win. You can't win.
Oh, no, it just depends what month it is.
No.
You know, it's... or what road you're going down at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta be like, you just turn the corner and you're in the right street or the wrong street. But like, for me, it was, for me, it's been really good because luckily, I've managed to get really, really good responses, you know, on social media from both sides of the community. People coming up to me and approaching me, and you know, from both sides saying that they really enjoyed it and that they supported me and stuff. And I was expecting a lot more friction, but to be honest with you, I think people have moved on. And I think people are a lot more open to this kind of thing.
Okay, now, was there anything particular then in the training that you did that was the hot? Like, if you can pinpoint anything that was particularly just brutal out of everything, and what was the best part? What was the worst, and what was the best part of it?
Like, the hardest part was the fact that there was no external or extrinsic motivation, because like, you weren't going to win anything, you weren't going to get any money, you weren't going to join the SAS. The whole time you were getting absolutely hammered. You were thinking, what am I doing? What the fuck is wrong with me? Why am I even doing this? And the hardest part was probably keeping yourself going. But then, like, actual on the tasks, I found the running horrendous because I'm not a runner, and I was with all these triathletes and Ironman people and stuff like that, and they could all run for days. So sticking with them was really hard. And then but like on exercise, the physical parts weren't the worst because you just kind of get on with it. A bit like fighting, you know, you just get on with it because you're used to that physical pain.
Yeah.
Even if it's a little bit harder, but you're used to the idea of going through pain bars. But the psychological pressure was the worst. The interrogation was worse than anything I've ever experienced.
Yeah, it's like I used to find, like, whenever I was sort of struggling with something, I'd always look for somebody else that looked like they were struggling worse than me, and think to myself, so fucking glad I'm not them. You know, yeah, I feel like shit, but they're in a world of shit. Like, you know what I mean? And that's how I used to motivate myself. You know, and or I'd think to myself, well, at least I'm not a civvy back home or something like that. You know, like anything at all. Like your reward you've got now, haven't you? Because everyone's probably saying to you, like, well done and all that, and that's your reward. You obviously you didn't have it at the time. But now it comes through, you know what I mean? And it's like every time somebody comes up to you and says, like, oh, I couldn't have done that, you know what I mean? And like that's your medal or your £1,000 prize or whatever, you know.
Yeah, that you're right. Like, I'm sorry, my internet's a little bit. I guess for me, like, the best thing that I got out of it was the fact that afterward, that's much more confidence in my ability to push my limits. You know, and like, I never knew that I had those limits. You know, there were times I thought we can't do any more, and then we just went that little bit further and a little bit further, and then 3 hours later we're still going, and I'm thinking, this is just ridiculous. You know?
Yeah, but the thing is, I was thinking the kind of the gains that you got from that, like you say, that kind of confidence and going that extra bit that you never thought maybe possible. Do you think then this is going to add to your mental strength to competing when you're going to get back in the cage? I imagine you're wanting to get back in the cage at the start of the year. And do you think this is going to add to you when you're doing your training and not just competing as well? Do you think now you've got a bit more
mental?
Yeah, just mental strength, really.
Absolutely. Sorry if you're getting some feedback there. I'm getting some feedback on my speaker.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
We just.
It's all them viruses from watching the porn sites that are doing it. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. I've definitely got loads of viruses.
That's how we really got through the 8 weeks, ladies and gents.
So when I fought Chris Fishgold, I did a fight camp straight off the back of that show, and everything's been different. My attitude to training, my attitude to diet, my attitude to preparation. Everything's been totally different. It's the best experience I've ever had in hindsight.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you got that was on Made for the Cage, and was it a draw? Was it a majority draw? I think off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And
No.
you know, you've got, like I was going to say, because you'd be classed as one of the prospects in the UK MMA. You know, with the way things are going with your career, I imagine you're wanting to have a kind of big splash, make a good effort in 2016, and maybe branch out. You know, to hopefully maybe, you know, everyone wants to get that kind of UFC or even Bellator kind of contract. Yeah. I don't know if you've heard yet, but the Bellator are coming to the UK. They're coming to London soon. So would that maybe be something that will ignite you to maybe, you know, push on a little bit more?
Absolutely. I want to fight the best guys all the time. And that's like why I fought Chris Fishgold, because he's one of those guys that I thought, or that's above me, you know, in terms of the UK sort of, not the rankings, but, you know, the knowledge within the UK scene. And I'm only in this game for the challenges. I'm not in it for, even, you know, the UFC and Bellator is great, but more important for me is that idea to fight the best guys that I can fight and get that experience, you know. It's a bit like that show. It's something that I want to look back on and say, I went completely balls to the wall and I did everything I could do. And I didn't take any backward steps. You know, I want to be proud of what I've achieved when I'm finished.
I was going to say, don't say you're in it for the money, because
no
money. The only money in it is betting against Ronda Rousey.
I was going to say you want to get back into that training if you want money. Bloody hell, there's probably more money in that than MMA. But but you know what? I think it's a good thing for MMA as well, with what you've done for yourself, the exposure wise and stuff as well. Everything I think will kind of, you know, all come together as well for 2016. Is that little added, like you say, momentum behind you as well, because you'll get the interest from people who maybe never watched it before, or maybe were curious but never. I think what you've done is, it's a good thing. You've put yourself out there, not in an MMA perspective, but you've put yourself in different
prime time TV. Well, you know, in every home in the UK. You know,
but it's. I think it's handy. I think for MMA, for people to understand that. Yeah, well, do you know what? These are people that will push themselves and test themselves, and they're human beings, because a lot of people sometimes just see them as Bob Barrack. People will put gloves on and smash to his head in. I think it's good that, you know, you've done something like this. I think it definitely gives a different perspective, and you've also, you know, for yourself, you've got a lot more out of it probably than anyone will understand.
And to be honest with you, the way, I mean, not the last episode, but the episode before that, the way, you know, like the weakest link, you helped carry the weakest link. I mean, you picked up his bag, you know, you were trying to give encouragement, stuff like that. You weren't being gung-ho for yourself sort of thing. You were like that team player, and that's anything other than an aggressive thug.
Yeah, and what you didn't see was he was actually taking food out of the guy's bag. So
you're after the warm jacket, weren't you?
Exactly. I felt like I was representing martial arts and mixed martial arts to a certain extent, and I didn't try and put on a face or anything, but I wanted to let people know that there's more to us. You know, we have a lot to give. I think we're not just thugs, and we're not just barbarians, and I think we can be just as thoughtful and just as well mannered and just as intelligent as the next guy. You know, and I wanted to represent that at like an elite level outside of MMA. That was exciting for me.
Well, I'll say purely from a military point of view and on a personal level, I saw fantastic qualities that would definitely work in that environment. You know, I know they said it on the show, but I actually messaged you beforehand and said that I was very impressed. You know, you can play the grey man, but at the same time, you will help that weakest link. You know what I mean? You will, you know, because it's probably the most team job there is. Like, so, you know, well done for me, and I'm super impressed. You know, so, you know, fantastic effort.
Now,
thank you very much. I appreciate that so much.
And before we let you go, for people who maybe want to give you a follow then and get an idea of what you do outside of making yourself want to go to sleep and cry and, you know, wonder why you can see a rib cage all the time, how can people jump on social networking stuff and maybe, you know, kind of join you on your MMA side of things?
Yeah, so if you follow me at Ryan Roddy MMA on Twitter, that's kind of the gateway to the rest of my bullshit online. And you follow me on there. And Bad Boy Training Center is where I work full time in Gateshead. And I'd also like to sort of shout out a few people that have helped me along the way. So I've got Vinny Shorman, who's like my mind coach. And and I've got Leon or both of them. He's my strength and conditioning coach, and I've got a lot of guys around me that are really, really helpful, and they don't get a lot of credit, you know.
Yeah, I think there's one soft arse called Tommy Quinn.
Yeah.
We live together here. He's not here, but his dog's here somewhere.
You know, I'm all for those relationships. I think they're good.
Yeah,
you know, equal rights.
I think they're good. Yeah, I think people should promote it.
Exactly. You guys know all about it.
Exactly. That's what
As I said, the bath's still warm.
Yeah. So Ryan, thanks for coming on, mate. And do you know what? I look forward to next year and seeing what matchups get made up with you. You know, I think Made for Cage will be trying to drag you back onto their show as soon as they get next year's cards matched up. So I think, you know, we'll keep a close eye. We'll let people as well know.
2016 is going to be a good year, I reckon.
There is. So Ryan, have a great time relaxing and getting a bit of the public eye on you at the moment. So have a great time and thanks again.
Thank you.
Okay, end of the month, at the end of November, Tommy Quinn is taking on Matt Inman at Made for the Cage. Awesome fight, awesome matchup. Made for the Cage, I've noticed, especially since Cage Warriors kind of stepped away for a little bit, have started to really get some good matchups. Tommy, you're back in against Matt. You must be pumped about this matchup because it's a really good fight. It's a really good challenge to have as well.
Yeah, it's a good fight. Me and Matty make sense really. Like we've shared a lot of opponents. I thought we would have crossed a long time ago, but I think Matty sort of declined the fight a little bit, not in person but mentally. Because I don't know if you remember, there was an MMA article after I fought Cage Warrior 62. They posted, can't remember what the article was, but they posted a fantasy MMA card, and it had me versus Matty on this fantasy MMA card. And straight away, Matty declined the fight, saying that his beard didn't belong in the same cage as mine. And then they were like, "All right, whatever." And then, yeah, but it'd be a good fight though. And he said, "Yeah, but there's plenty of other fight Cage Warriors."
I don't remember seeing that one, but I did. That's interesting.
Well, I tweeted it to him there a couple of weeks ago after he was telling people he was going to put me away in the second round, and I just sent him a message saying, "Oh, I thought I was your boy," and then sent him a screenshot of him in the fight, basically.
That's an interesting one. I didn't know about that.
So we need to put money on the second round then.
Yeah, we need to put money on
Matt. So money on Matt in the second round.
Yeah,
thanks for that inside information.
Cheers,
That's what we were after.
Yeah, we'll go down to bookies now.
Well, there we are,
No, you can do it online.
Well, you can do it online now, can't you? Yeah,
apparently.
just do it online. No,
No.
You see, that's a weird one, that really, isn't it? I don't quite understand that. Do you think maybe he got the bit of confidence back since, because he fought on FCC, didn't he, against Des Parker? He got that win. Do you think maybe it's something to do with, like, he maybe got a bit of a confidence back in him?
That's it. I think he's maybe looked and seen me losing a fight and thought, "Oh, Quinn's maybe on the slide or whatever." But that's far from the case. Everybody's seen the last fight and how close that went, and I fully intend to put Matty within the 3 rounds in this next fight.
Well, I was going to say, what have you've been tweeting? You've been Instagramming, and you've been also mentioning about you've evolved on your striking. Who have you been working with, particular then, to maybe? Obviously, we won't talk about exactly what it is you're doing because that might involve part of the game plan. But
I heard it's kung fu.
It is probably kung fu. But what is it then? Who have you been dealing with then to kind of improve this bit that you talked about, this evolution of your striking?
It's just thorough research and practice and behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't been overly active this past few years, but that's all on purpose. It's all strategy. I just want to come in and hopefully go through a fair few people in the division in the next 18 months. It's all been through hard work and training, and like, you see the quality of lads we've got up here to train with. The level in the northeast is superb. So it's just been putting the time in with them lads and working on concepts and different angles and that. And so far it's working, paying off, and there's going to be like a finished product now come November 28th.
Well, yeah, you have to up there because I've seen what you use like when you're pissed. It's a dangerous fucking place.
Well, I was going to say the guys you train with, Ross Pearson as well. He recently quoted saying that, you know, you're kind of already you could be thrown into the UFC against the dogs in the UFC and you'd fare well in that. You know, did that kind of that's a lovely compliment to have from, you know, a friend of yours in Ross, but as well, it says a lot about you. I think it shows that he really pays attention to the quality of training that you're doing.
Of course it is, man. It's great to hear them sort of things, but it's all something we already know. Like, if you look, I don't know if you've seen Graham Boylan's recent post there.
Yes.
Have you seen all the, like, every person there, like, the amount of people that came from Cage Warriors? It goes to show a lot of the Cage Warriors. It goes to show how stacked the level is, you know what I mean? Like, there you can't hide from hard fight. That's anyone that's competing in Cage Warriors and winning in Cage Warriors, they're going to be UFC ready within a couple of fights.
No, I agree with that, Tommy. Yeah, you are right, because the thing we always spoke about Cage Warriors is they don't fuck about the fights. As in, they're always putting on really excellent bouts. You know, the cards that you watch, they're always absolutely stellar cards.
Yeah,
because they get the right talent. You know, Ian Dean, you know, did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, there was no easy fight in Cage Warriors on paper.
Some of the guys he brought into that promotion, I was fucking blown away. Like
there's not one fight you would have looked at Cage Warriors and thought that's a mismatch. That's a complete mismatch.
Exactly.
Not one.
Exactly. And you look at as you said, like, you look at the guys that have moved on to the UFC. They pretty much, like, a majority of them have gone on to win.
Yeah, they've all done well. Of recent, look how well Joe Duffy's doing. Obviously, he got concussed. Then you look at Stevie Ray. Stevie Ray's won a lot of fights off the back too. He's doing well. Couple of good impressive victories for Stevie Ray.
Yeah, he went.
That's just top of my head, really. Who else?
Well, obviously, you got a guy called this Irish guy called what's his name? I don't know much about him. Begins with C. Connor. That's it, Connor.
Conan
McGraw. No, there's
Conan McGregor.
But yeah, well, when you look at just the Irish contingent itself, you got Connor, you got Caffel who's went over there. You had Neil Seary, Redders went over there as well. There's so many guys that went from from Cage Warriors over to the UFC. It's absolutely, you know, Arnold Allen, he went over there as well.
Yeah, successful.
Young Arnold's brilliant.
Yeah, you know, it's exciting times, really. I think. You know,
where you see, hopefully, the likes of himself, you'll get to see Alex Enlund, Brian Roddy, Mr. SAS himself. Hopefully, there'll be a Paddy Pimlet, all the likes of them sort of people. Hopefully, you'll get to see them all get a chance to do in the next couple of years.
Now Ryan's had his SAS training, you won't be able to find him anymore.
You shouldn't be able to see him. Even in the cage, he'll be like he'll be stealth mode.
He'll be creeping up behind you, and you won't even know he's there. You think the Matrix is scary. You wait till you see Ryan now.
He done well on the show, didn't he?
He did. Do you know what? I actually messaged him like 2 episodes ago, and that's where I really thought he shined. He like the stuff that he was doing that they weren't teaching him, like help the weakest link and play the grey man and stuff like that. So not this one, the one where they were actually going over the hills and what have you. It would like how he was grabbing the bag. That sort of stuff really works in soldiering. I'm not talking about putting metal together, but you know, it really helps. And they don't teach you to do that. You either do it or you don't, you know. And he was a really, really good team player and stuff like that. But yeah, he did well. He did fantastic.
I done brilliant. I am chuffed.
Yeah,
it's a great thing. But with yourself, you know, obviously this card's huge. But then obviously next year, like you say, you want to start an 18-month kind of, you know, going on a bit of a tear. Obviously, provided injury free, you know, anything could happen. You could get out the shower and slip and pull a muscle. You know what I mean?
Don't worry, Ryan will catch you now.
Ryan will probably catch him, and he wouldn't even see him.
Would he be in there?
He'd be in there. He wouldn't even know. But
and not even getting wet.
But like you say, you got with Cage Warriors potentially coming back. Does that then, in your mind, kind of you think to yourself, that belt's up for grabs as well? You know, there's a chance for a title run, and you know that kind of exposure that Cage Warriors can give you. Does that, in your mind, give you that little push now?
Look, sir, like I done an interview today. They were asking about the belt. It's lovely to win belts and all this sort of thing. Won belts before, and I would hopefully, all being well, I think I'll win this on the 28th. But the Cage Warriors one, it would also be nice to have. But without a win, the belt means nothing. You can't get it unless you win. That's the thing you're after. That's what you have to post.
Well, the thing is, it's getting the wins and obviously the matchups, because we don't know what they're going to do when they're pretty much they're coming back. I know Graham is cock teasing us all with his little statements.
Yeah, he just gives us little snippets.
You know,
1 minute it's Glasgow, and then it's Dublin, and
well, he's been doing it on Twitter, Mike, as well, and Facebook. Like I say, if I could see Graham, I'd probably feel like kicking him in the bollocks, saying, "Right, stop doing this, and just
put us
tell
out
me."
of our misery and tell us.
It's doing my nutting. Oh, he's a fucker like for it. But the thing is, I think for the UK scene, it's great getting him back in it. Let's be honest.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But in fairness, BAMMA's pulled their finger out of their ass, and they've put on a fair few shows and a couple of good matchups and stuff. But I don't think once Cage Warriors comes back, they've got all them already links set up, and all. It's only going to go bigger and bigger. I think Cage Warriors, especially under Graham's tutelage, he knows what he's at, man.
Yeah, he is. He's got his head screwed on. And the thing with Graham is as well, I think you'll see a lot of guys. There is ex-Cage Warriors guys that obviously went to BAMMA because people need to get fights. At the end of the day, they couldn't just sit. They didn't know when they were going to come back. And I think you'll see probably, if they can go back, you'll see names come back to Cage Warriors that just went back.
Me and Ryan still got contracted fights with Cage Warriors, so I'm definitely back in the bandwagon. Me and the Cage have been great helping us out, having these other fights, and Cage Warriors have been great letting us have the fights outside the promotion. But I'll be happy to step back in the Cage Warriors cage.
Yeah, you'll be blowing the dust off that then.
Yeah.
Making sure you still got it.
I think me and Michael are going to have to get our asses over to watch some of the Cage Warriors cards as well.
I can't believe we haven't been over yet.
Well, we were actually planning to go this year. And then all of a sudden, obviously, we were like, okay, January, and then they were going to announce the cards for the year or something, and then all of a sudden it went, yeah, we're not doing it anymore, and we were kind of, we're not going to any cards then.
Yeah.
Well, the last card I was meant to be a part of was the London card. I was meant to fight Tom Breeze, and then the London card got pulled, and then look where Tom Breeze is at now.
Yeah, Tom Breeze. Yeah. I tell you what he did at Careful was
scary.
That was.
He looked good. I've heard a lot of good things. Speaking of Paul Redmond, when I went down to train one there a couple of weeks ago.
Who's that?
Paul Redmond.
Yeah. No, sorry, who?
I went down to train with Paul Redmond, Red Sir. I went to train with him about 2-3 weeks ago. 2 weeks before Big Ronan Mackay's fight there at the weekend. I'd like to wish him well done as well. But I went down to train with him, and he was saying that Tom Breeze is something else. He's some boy.
Yeah. I've watched, like I said, I've watched some of the footage. Obviously, when he was at Prospect, really. The thing was, he went to TriStar quite a while back as well, and he's just literally under Farage. It's I think it's hard for someone to be bad under Farage. It seems that way anyway.
Yeah. I don't think that would keep you there too long if you weren't a spectacular competitor. Well, you definitely wouldn't be in the pro team anyway, because you're representing Fahaz himself directly. I don't think they would put in scrap people into the pro team.
Yeah, I mean, I was at the Q&A for in Dublin for the last UFC, and they asked Rory McDonald. I didn't. Someone else did. They asked everyone on stage, who are they back in their, where they train, like, have they got their eyes on, that's up and coming? And Rory McDonald said Tom Breeze, and he could have said Joe Duffy or anyone but he said Tom Breeze.
Yeah.
So.
But it's good. I think it's good for British MMA as well that we've got these kind of upcoming stars, because me and Mike spoke about it a little while back, because you think obviously Bisping is coming to the latter of his career.
Twilight, yes.
It's coming to Twilight, yeah. And you do need new, fresh faces in the scene. So you got like the Arnold Allen, you got your Tom Breeze, and I think it helps as well give the UK scene a bit of a boost, knowing that there's, it's there. That we can. We've got talent.
This is exposure, and we're starting to get away from that sort of idea where years ago you weren't any good unless you were signed into the UFC. Whereas now everybody's getting good now a lot quicker. The coaching quality is a lot higher, so everybody's getting better. So we're bringing a bit more attention towards the UK MMA scene, really. So people are starting to look out for up-and-comers rather than just jumping the bandwagons and such.
Well, you mentioned before Alex Enlin that you train, and he's an absolute stellar fighter, absolute top lad as well.
Can't believe he's not already there.
I enjoyed chatting with Alex a little while back as well. I had a great chat with him, but he coaches as well, and he's got a young lad under him as well who's a good prospect in Adam Proctor. So
Adam Proctor, yeah.
It's I spoke to Adam.
A young lad just won at the weekend. A fella Joe Colvin, brilliant. Could be something else. Just needs to stop being so lazy. He rocked up, took a fight in 2 weeks notice, and put the kid away with a big knockout. Amazing. Absolutely brilliant. Big bomb right hand. It was class.
That's what I mean, man. There's
talent around
out there.
We just need the stages.
And you just need to stage. I think for the UK scene, I think having Cage Warriors there, I think it would not shock me if we see Cage Warriors on Fight Pass as well.
Well, I've heard a lot of rumours.
Yeah, so we heard these.
I think everyone's heard the rumours.
It'd be good. It's good for all us boys that are already fought the Cage Warriors to get on there and get the lights.
Yeah. And that's what I mean, because I think if it happens, as in say Graham gets that Cage Warriors deal with Fight Pass, it would be great for the like, for example, you go onto that card, you're more appealing to a sponsor, and that means more money for the fighter, and I think that's the key side of things as well. That's a great.
We're doing now too, though. I think sponsorship's dead.
Yeah.
Dead for MMA. Well, highly in the UFC. Can't do anything. You can't endorse yourself now, which is a shame. It's a shame. Everybody's just one now. You have to be one of the big lads to be able to stand out. Otherwise, you just blend in. Yeah,
to get like a unique deal, a solo deal, so to speak. It is a shame. If, the only thing that makes you unique is your walkout music, which that's something about you, which is a bit unique because you don't pick it, do you?
No. So it's but even if I got there if I was lucky enough to get the UFC, I can't even get someone's name embroidered in my arse now.
It's weird. Well, you can get someone. Well, someone could do something to your arse, but it's a shame, really. Like, as in, like,
I think we should pick it.
Yeah.
We should.
Well, you're gonna have to get suggestion. I've got a couple of good ones.
Yeah, because
Oh no, we could have really good ones.
Because people can suggest your walkout tunes for your fight, which I think it's a good little thing to do. I think it's a bit fun.
BG, staying alive.
The reason I do it really is it's a good way to get people interested in it.
It is.
Like in your fight without having to keep promoting yourself and being, look at me, I'm amazing. It's just getting people more involved in like a friendly sort of way.
Well, we had Lloyd Clarkson did it with one of his fights where he was going to get the face of the person on his arse, on his shorts, which that was something he was pushing out as well, which was quite a good thing. He was doing that for the Carl Moore fight, I think it was, or something like that. I think it was that one, for the Cage Warriors things. So, but anything like that, I think it just gives a different perspective on the sport. It does add a bit of fun. I think it adds a bit of fun to.
It's a shame the way the Reebok thing sort of went for the UFC guys. Unfortunately, at the minute.
I tell you what, I would not. I've got to say, that doesn't look good.
I like to buy my own Reeboks. Yeah.
I think that's like at the end of the day, they're still in the running of things. I think they'll iron out a few creases now in the next year or two. You know what I mean? It's like anything new and anything big. You're going to have errors and you're going to have mistakes.
Yeah,
it's just chipping away and getting it right.
But the worrying thing is everybody predicted that it was going to be like wrong. It was going to go tits up. Everyone predicted it, and they said no, stick with us and this and the other.
For the fighters, but it might be wrong for the organisation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the UFC is sticking by the Reebok thing, but they're not going to. They can't. I think it'd be silly of them to slate it in any way. They're never going to. What gets me is I think I would easily help out Reebok if they need it, because I don't know how they're doing so much stuff wrong. That T-shirt they did of the before the UFC Ireland card with the
matchstick men.
Where they missed out the map of Ireland, where they missed out Northern Ireland, and you think, really? Like,
I know.
It's like, who sits there and goes, that'll do? They have no one looking over it going,
no, that's went through like a hierarchy.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, that's grand, that's fine. Put that on.
And
Giblet.
They did the one recently with Holman, where you had the Polish image with the red and the bird.
It looks like a swastika.
It looks like a swastika and stuff like that. And there's just things you think.
Like you would think they would submit it to like they should have submitted that T-shirt to the SBG lads beforehand and said, what do you think? Because they're obviously the biggest pull in Ireland.
Yeah.
Or whatever, like Poland, they're submitted to the biggest team in Poland, or said, what do you think of these? And they could have been like,
nah. One email would have done it. You know what I mean? One email.
Because I know there's no such thing as, any press is good press in a way, but there's not really been that much good press.
No, you don't hear of anyone really, really praising it.
Yeah, only the guys who've got exclusive deals to Reebok, if I'm honest, kind of really praising. You think, I know why you're praising it, because you get paid.
I wonder what will happen. Ronda's Reebok deal after the weekend.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
They might design a new cushion for her to cuddle up with and cry herself into
I
sleep.
tell you what, how much hate
Look at
has she
this
got
horrible
since the
man
weekend?
jumping on the whole fucking give her shit bandwagon.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody loses fights, man.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is, the shit has landed so heavy on her. And it's like, well, hang on. She's the reason that MMA is even in the UFC for women.
Aye, that's
you know,
it.
And
Like,
Yeah,
everyone's had bad performances, you know what I mean? She's just had a really bad one at the weekend.
yeah, but you know what? It might be the best thing for her.
Well, look at George St. Pierre.
It could be a bit up the arse to say, all right, I need to wind me neck in a little bit, and
Yeah.
I'll go work on such and such.
Yeah, George St. Pierre lost to Matt Serra, and not being funny, didn't do him any harm.
Nah, that's shite.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
give him
but do you know what? You get people. Do you know what? If anyone's successful, as soon as they fall, people love to jump on.
Yeah,
And
That's
yeah,
it.
the
The thing
fall's
is, like,
fast.
look at Anderson Silva. Everyone wants him to win, and eventually they get sick of him winning. They're like, I would love him to get beat,
Yeah.
just for a change. You know what I mean?
No, it's
And I loved watching Anderson Silva win because the way he did it was fucking awesome.
yeah, the way you'd go out there and would just toy with them.
But then people get sick of that too. They're like, oh well, I would like to see someone different win. Or
Yeah.
it's chance. It's the same with Floyd Mayweather. Everyone wants to watch him lose now.
No, just a second.
They're just waiting for one lad to beat him. Like, he's not as good now. He's shot. He's done for.
The thing with Floyd Mayweather, though, he's a complete dick. He is a complete dick outside of the ring. You know, the way he treats everybody is disgusting. Like, you know, how he'll burn money and
How many people treat him like shit? Like, people try and use him for certain things, man.
Oh,
They'll
yeah,
be
yeah,
trying
yeah.
for their own benefit. They'll not give a shit about Floyd Mayweather. They'll be looking to see how much money he can make them.
Yeah, it's all about the money, yeah. It's all about the ones and zeros.
He's just clued in.
Yeah. It's all about the ones and zeros, and it's a shame because you think, you know, you see people like fighters, for example, as cash cows, and I think it's a shit way to look at fighters, but that's what some promotions will do.
Everybody's a cash cow, man. Everybody. Yeah. We all have to work for someone.
Yeah.
no,
Everybody's got a boss.
Yeah, and but I think it's the way that sometimes they're abused in a way, and it's a shame. But fucking hell, no, we can't change the world. We're not going to. Money can dictate it. So
Hey, gives us those shit moments, doesn't it?
it does give us those shit moments like Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, inferior to Sunday, but
Well, I know there were several million people going, holy shit, and couldn't wait to, you know, like, hurry up and finish fight so I can get online and tell people, like, you know.
that was fucking insane.
Oh dear, that must have been.
That was, Dana White didn't look happy now.
Oh, yeah, you could just see him just crying into his pillow that night, thinking, "I've lost." You know, you can see his hair. Oh no, his hair's already fallen out.
He's just
But-
like if Ronda had a won, that's took a bit of pressure off Conor having to win, because
Yes.
if Conor loses now, then it's been a bad day a bad month for the UFC.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's a bad ending for them for the year.
That's
losing
their
their
two big horses getting shot before the end of the race, that is, you know.
Because as sad as it is to say, the UFC would have made a lot more money watching Ronda defend her belt than they will Holly Holm.
Oh, Christ.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But yeah, they will. Yeah,
Well,
it's nothing against Holly either. They just know that Ronda brings people.
It's business.
Yeah.
Like,
Do you know what? That Cyborg fight is now pretty meaningless. Do you know what I mean? It's just, it's not important anymore.
Well, you just think if Holly was hurting with the punches, you think how much Cyborg would hurt with a punch.
I know. She's a unit. Her and Holly Holm would be some fight.
Yeah, I know. Seeing the two of them just
That would be interesting because
I would like to watch that.
Because the way Holly fought, you know, like you think Cyborg would have gone forwards, whereas Holly was going backwards and bringing on the aggression.
But
like,
Cyborg knows that she needs to get down at 135 and get in the UFC because that's where the money's going to be for her. She'll make a ton of money. She was making good money in Invicta, don't get me wrong. She gets like $100,000 whatever fighting there, but she'll make a lot more probably in the UFC.
she'll save a few grams if she cut the balls off.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, apparently, I can't. What's his name? Jason. Jason is he's Bisping striking coach. He used to be BJ Penn striking coach. And I was having a good bit of crack with him in Scotland, and he was saying she is an absolute beast. He says she hits like a fella.
Well, she would do.
Yeah, she is.
She's built like a fella.
He said she was putting away men in the gym.
I've seen footage of her in Thailand training as well on the pads, and like you say, yeah, the noise she made when she hit the pads It was fucking crazy.
I tell you what, if you get in a relationship with her, you don't fuck her. She fucks you. Like, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's scary. Yeah.
Yeah, she is a monster. I think she needs to get.
No, she certainly is.
She needs to get the 135
because
because
to watch that. That'd be brilliant.
she'll be awesome to throw in that 135 division. She'll be great fun to see.
But you know what? This could be a good thing for the sport.
Well,
Well, no, all of a sudden you think to yourself, well, you know what? Misha Tate against Holly Holm. That's a possible winning fight for Misha Tate.
But then again, Dana did mention.
I know, but what I'm saying is,
Dana mentioned about the 125 division being next for the ladies. So Misha might be thinking, I'm happy to go down to 125 and fight for that belt.
Do you think they'll give Ronda a straight rematch?
Oh yeah.
Dana said it
definitely.
Dana said
Why you do that?
It's stupid.
That baffles me why they do that.
It does. I think, but the reason why, I tell you why he's going to do it. And I'll tell you right now why.
People.
It's not. No. He's going to match them up straight away because UFC 200 is going to be mid-year.
And they can do it at the.
Ronda's going to be, and they're going to do it. It's all about the money, mate. It's not about the logic. It's about the money.
Like, it's daft. Like, I would see through it if it was a controversial decision, like Shogun and
Machida
and that.
Yeah,
you get put away.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be getting a straight away rematch. No way.
No.
Yeah, Ronda Rousey did not win a single second of that.
But
fight.
it's like Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman.
Oh, like, or you could even say, it was fair play with Anderson Silva and what's his name, Chael Sonnen.
Yeah.
Fair play, give them a rematch.
Yeah.
The first one was tight. Well, Thingy was destroying him, and then just got caught.
Last 30 seconds of the fifth round, he get caught in a triangle. Crazy. And he dominated the whole fight, more or less.
I know. Well, he did. He dominated the whole fight from the get-go.
Yeah. And it's the thing. It's all about. It's like I say, mate. I'm telling you, UFC 200. They'll say Dana's going to tell Rousey to have a break, UFC 200, and fight then against Holly. It's all about the money, mate. You think about how much money they'll make from that. It's huge.
Apparently, well, I've read it online. I don't know how fucking true it is, but apparently she's broke her jaw in 3 places or something's out for 6 months.
Well,
no, she hasn't broke her jaw. There was a medical release, but she got back today anyway from back to the US today. But there was a medical release. I heard a rumor about the broken jaw, but there's no. I've only heard that in one place, but everywhere else said there's no.
I must admit, the mouth looked like it was a broken jaw. You know how she was open mouthed all the time.
Well, she talked after the knockout. She was talking afterwards, and she was talking clear.
Jesus, that's cost them some money. Did you watch the Embedded? And they had
it's all about Ronda.
Stallone, Mike Tyson. They had every fucker talking about Ronda Rousey, and then for that upset.
Oh yeah, because they know how much money and how much attention Ronda gets.
It is the biggest upset in MMA. Period.
You think so?
Yeah. No. I think so.
I don't know.
No. Go back. What is it? 72 hours or whatever it is. Yeah. Find me 10 people you know that honestly believed Holly Holm was going to win.
But it doesn't matter. I'm just talking.
People I thought Matt Serra would have beat
George St. Pierre. I was thinking that as well. That was a way bigger fight. That was a way bigger difference.
No. The thing is you look at Holly Holm in her first 2 UFC appearances. She did not look good.
No, she didn't. But
yeah. Whereas Matt Serra has looked awesome in fights. In some fights, fair enough. He was fighting GSP, but he has in Holly Holm's UFC career. Yeah, which is the only real marker you can go from. Is she had not looked good. Her striking had looked terrible in her first UFC appearance.
Oh well.
You know, it's
I'd probably pick a different fight, but yeah, but it was a big upset. It was one of the biggest ones.
It's up there, certainly up there.
It's certainly up there. I agree with you, Tommy. It certainly is up there. Tommy, we're going to let you go because we've got to get on with a full night of interviews. But Tommy, before we let you go, mate, can you let people at home know how they can tune in to you with your social networking and stuff? How they can maybe get one of your groovy little T-shirts that you've done as well?
Well, my Instagram is the Roly Poly Kid. You can find me on Twitter at the same, I think. So if you want to give me a shout out or follow us, just get on that.
Yep. The T-shirts. How do people get hold of your awesome T-shirts that you do?
Well, if you want to, they just send me a message on Instagram or Twitter, and I'll give you my details, and then we can work it out from there.
There you go. And obviously, if whenever Tommy has a fight on, he can think of good songs that you can get him to play.
That's it.
That's key.
You've still got over a week before I get my shorts done. So if you want to give your name embroidered on my arse for the fight, get suggesting your walkout song.
There we go. See,
I think it should be John and Mike's MMA Corner myself.
well, we got to think of a good song.
Well, you need to think of a good song, aye.
Well, I have done Bee Gees.
That's not a song. That's a band.
Yeah, Staying Alive. Or Saturday Night Fever.
Right, Mike, you need to stop guessing because you're
Live would actually be quite decent, to be honest.
Yeah, thank you very much. See,
that the other day.
John doesn't listen to a lot of radio.
No. I was thinking somewhere like.
Uncultured, you say?
Yeah, I was thinking something a bit more old school, but we'll have a think.
Old school.
Yeah.
What's wrong with Bee Gees?
Like Glenn Miller.
It's old.
Glenn Miller, the 50s. But Tommy, what about sponsors, buddy? Where are your sponsors at? Who's helping you out? I think is there anyone out there?
I would like to think I've got Little and Large Clothing Company, a big northeast based clothing company up here. Some lovely attire. You can check them out. Little and Large Clothing on Instagram. Hawkers Company, the sunglasses, these brilliant types of shades. Obviously, it's not the weather for sunglasses over here. But have a look. We might get some cheap deals online at the minute. I'm not too sure. And also Bad Boy, of course.
Bad Boy, awesome kit wear. And what about obviously training partners? Obviously, you can't mention Ryan Roddy because he's a ninja and you won't even know he's there.
And his face is phased out now.
He's phased out his face, yeah. So, what about...
Great man. Latest here.
And what about your other training partners, buddy, and your coaches and stuff that have helped you out?
We've had a really good training camp. I've had Alex Enland, Andrew Fisher, Paul Cook, Colin Fletcher, Big James Mulhern, Phil DeFries, Kai, plenty of good training partners, plenty good Davy Grant. So we've got a strong squad up here. We're lucky. And that's just a few of the names.
Have fun rolling with Mulhern, eh? Fuck that.
Oh, sir, shifting them big boys. It's like shifting a fridge.
No, exactly. Yeah. Sweep. Yeah. No chance.
Nah. 19 and a half stone or something. Jesus.
Yeah, he's
big boys.
He's a big boy. He's a big boy. It's good to have him back as well. After it's good to get him recovered and get him back in there as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a good card. If we get 3-4 victories out of all our fights, it'll be brilliant. It'll be a great night for us.
I tell you what, honestly, it's a really good card. It's a really good card that they've got on.
Dale's been lucky. He swept up a lot of the Cage Warriors guys, and he's been given a lot of good opportunity to put on real good fights at the minute.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing. It's a great thing for local MMA promotions, especially in AFK. They've really got good matches up, mate. And honestly, Tommy, thanks for coming on, buddy, talking to us.
No problem, sir. No problem. Thank you very much for having us.
Have a great fight, man. It's going to be awesome to see the result. We can't wait, buddy, honestly. I
will do. Speak to you soon, chaps. Have a good one.
Okay, there was Brian and Tommy there. So jump on their social media stuff, give them a follow, give them a bit of I say support, but just get on there anyway because they're good lads, and you know what, they're really good to watch the fight.
Apparently,
as well.
The laundry basket gets full, but he just doesn't see him around. He's sass trained now.
Yes. Okay, we're going to jump on now to the fight night. No, it's not a lie. We're going to quickly touch on. There's a couple of cards on before. Bellator's on this weekend. I won't. Bellator is on. It's not the strongest card. In fact, the thing to talk about is Melvin Manhoef is fighting against Kato, who knocked out Joe Schilling. Now, this is the main event as well. What I love about it is he's had 6 bouts and Melvin Manhoef's had over 40 bouts. Love the way they work this Bellator. Another matchup on as well is Bubba McDaniel is on the card. Who was on Tough. He's
he lost a couple of times on Tough.
Yeah, he's
he was John Jones's mate.
He's got about 30 odd bouts under his belt, and his opponent, I've got to forget the guy's name now. I think it's Faxton or some Faction. He's a young kid. He's had 5 bouts.
Yeah, that matches up.
Love the way the Bellator are matching some of these fights. Some of the fights that Bellator make, I still am. I do like Scott Coker, but some of the things he does makes me question the world. But they have got that card on. It's not the best card. It isn't. It's not the strongest. But you know what? They have to probably get guys fights and they have to stick them on. It's on this weekend. But World Series of Fighting are also on. They have the 8-man lightweight tournament they've got going on. A couple of promotions started bringing the tournament kind of thing back, so it's one night. It's also the 8 fights. All the guys got to fight that one night, so the winner will be on that at the end of the card. But a couple of notes are Mike Ritchie's back. He's fighting on there as well. But the good fight on my card is Jason High against Esteban Payan. That's going to be a good crack, and that's going to be a good laugh, a good bout to watch. Now we're going to go to the UFC Fight Night card in Mexico, which I don't think is going to get a lot of attention until the weigh-ins, to be honest with you, because everyone's going to be talking about all the stuff that's been going on with Ronda and Holly.
Yeah, it's going to steal the
it's taking
media outlets.
It's taking away the media for the whole week.
You know, it might actually go under the radar a little bit.
And that's what I said that online.
I can't see this storm clearing for a while.
So this main event was meant to be Matt Brown versus Kelvin Gastelum, but Matt Brown got injured, and then Neil Magny came in to save the day. So,
yeah, and do you know what? I'm interested.
So good, you know, top man for Magny to step in. But we're going to start from we're going to do the main card. Also, they've got a couple of tough Latino, like kind of tough Latin Mexico kind of tough finale cards, fighters on there as well. So that's partly why this card is happening in Mexico. First fight we're going to have is Efrain Escudero versus Leonardo Silva. Okay, so Mike.
Right.
Ladies first. So you go.
Yeah, age before beauty. Oh, no, I'm supposed to be beauty as well, aren't I?
Yeah, you fucked that up.
Right, okay. Right, okay, now this is the one I'm stuck at. I haven't even ticked the page yet. So I'm actually going to go for Leonardo. Leonardo? Yeah?
Leonardo Silva?
Yeah, Leonardo Silva.
How come?
Because he has a win over... Come on, help me. Begins with C.
That narrows down, see.
Yeah. Oh, you know.
Charlie Bremen.
Yeah. And do you know what? That just separated from me. You know, I think it's pretty well matched, but yeah, I don't know. I'm stuck in the middle. Like I'm denied. That's why I haven't ticked yet. But that's who I'll go for. So I'm glad you asked me first.
Efrain is the more experienced fighter coming into this bout. He's got nearly 30 fights under his card. He's a very experienced fighter. In the UFC, he's done well. He's not lost. He's not. Well, sorry, I rephrase that. Sorry, he's lost. But what I mean is he's not fought the top dogs in the UFC. The two of them are on that kind of building themselves up. For Leonardo though, I picked Leonardo Silva. The guy is.
I thought you were going to go against me then.
The guy's far more resilient. Okay, and what I mean by that is he's only lost 3 fights in his career. He's 10 fights short, I think, of Efrain's. But what the key thing is he's only lost 5 decisions. He's a very, very well diverse fighter in the sense of he's got a lot more, I think, to offer as a fighter. I think he's going to actually. I think you're going to see Silva go on and do bigger things.
Esteban has actually been stopped on more than one occasion.
Yeah, I just feel that Leonardo Silva is a very good prospect. You'll see a lot more in 2016.
I think Esteban has actually been. Did he get stopped in the second round about 2 or 3 fights ago or something?
I can't remember because there's too many fights and too many guys.
I think so.
Next up we have is awesome flyweight division. Again, no one will know this or watch because some people don't like to.
Yeah, they believe there's only 3 divisions in the world.
So, you've got Jussier De Silva against Henry Cujo or Sujudo, however you want to pronounce it. I'll quickly just talk about the guys first. De Silva himself is a phenomenal 125er. Okay, this guy is a very good, talented fighter. This kind of guy has been around for a while in the sense of he's fought the best of the best almost. Apart from the only guy he's not fought is Demetrius Johnson, pretty much. The guy's only got 3 losses under his belt, and the 3 losses are the top guys: Mr. McCall, Benavidez, and Mr. McCall. It was a while back when he fought Benavidez and John Dobson. Okay, so it says it itself. You know, when you're losing to them, and you're beating everyone else, it speaks volumes in itself.
Having said that,
he's fighting a guy who's 9-0. Henry Cujo. He's since he's come to the UFC, they've done the right thing with Henry. He's 3-0, but they've not shot him straight up to Demetrius Johnson. It looks like they're trying to slowly build him because do you know what? He's not finished anyone yet. So at the same time,
they want that momentum in the UFC behind him.
Well, they do, but it's hard to get momentum in flyweights. But the thing is, he's not doing much to get the momentum behind him. He's standing out. He's
been a bit of a Ben Askren of the flyweight world.
Well, it's not that. He's not. I don't know, was he flashy enough?
Yeah,
But
put it this way.
he's drilled well. He is very well drilled. Now, the De Silva and Cejudo, they're both on a 3-fight win streak, so it's a nice momentum builder. It's a really good, well-matched bout. I've picked De Silva in this fight.
Ooh, good.
I know
Makes a
you'll
bit of competition.
I know you'll pick Cejudo.
Yeah.
But I just know that De Silva's got a lot more on him. That's all. I just know he's got a lot more in his arsenal, and I think Cejudo, it's a really tough bout for him. Now, Cejudo might probably,
smother him. Yeah.
He might smother him with wrestling and try. It might be a ball fest, because I think the problem with Cejudo is he knows this guy's a really talented guy that could really put some problems in him.
So he might just try and turn into a wrestling contest.
He might
Get down and just
he could
smother.
So
keep it super safe.
Yeah.
I think it's probably going to be the least interesting fight on this main card. I think because I see it as he will come out there and just... I mean, don't get me wrong, if you're into your wrestling, you'll wait yourself, I think.
Yeah.
Because you'll just see... It'll just turn this into the Olympics.
Yeah. I think Cejudo will try to turn that into... Now, don't get me wrong, Cejudo, sorry, he's got really good boxing. He has like a little bit of like an amateur kind of background to him. So
yeah, don't expect him to do that, though.
He has got good hands,
Yeah.
which sets up for the wrestling. So he can mix the two of them up. He can really diverse himself, but
his best chance of winning is he's wrestling.
yeah.
So we're going in opposite things here, but
I know I'm
Yeah.
going against the grain because
So-
I just think
yeah,
Silva's
good.
he's a very good fighter. Go on, go on, Mike. Come in event.
Lamas against Sanchez. My pick for fight of the night,
Okay.
just because it's got Sanchez in it.
Yeah.
Lamas, I think, super cool technique. Okay, came a bit unstuck his last, but I still think Sanchez is just a little bit too battle worn for someone like Lamas at this, in this stage. A couple of years ago, I would have picked Sanchez, but I'm going to go for Lamas in this one.
Yeah, Ricardo Lamas he's one of them guys who's in the top 5 in the 145 division, and he's a guy that he lost obviously to Chad Mendes recently back in April, I think.
Which is no bad thing, by the way.
Yeah,
Chad Mendes is.
Yeah, he got finished by Chad Mendes. Now he came back. The fight before that was far more impressive when he literally went through Dennis Bermudez, who had been on like a 7-win tear, and he went in and just literally finished he just literally was on another level that night.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is Sanchez's debut at 145. He's cutting down at 145, so I'm interested to see, because Sanchez has taken a lot of damage, and how much is that weight cut going to affect his head? It's a big problem. Sanchez as well, when he swings not with technique but with violence. It's very easy to get in and out of Sanchez. Now, Sanchez's last fight was actually against Ross Pearson last year, where he didn't win, but the judges
came away with the win.
the judges gave him the win.
Yeah, must have been Sanchez fans.
Now, if he'd lost that fight, he would have actually been he would have been lost 3 in a row. But I do see this fight really being all about Lamas. I can see Ricardo Lamas.
I can't see Sanchez winning.
I think Lamas is going to be quicker. I think Sanchez is not going to be able to just finish him. I think Lamas did the right thing as well. It's now November. He hasn't fought since April. He's taken the time off to let his body heal after getting the finish.
Lays head hill as well.
Love it. I'm loving that. And I think Lamas is probably going to cause Diego Sanchez problems. How many more fights has Diego Sanchez got is the question as well.
I think he'll make it fun.
I think
he'll come along, because Sanchez always comes to fight.
He does.
He
does.
He's never.
But the only reason it makes when he fights, the only reason
he needs somebody else that's wild.
He needs like a Gilbert, and I don't think you're going to see a Gilbert in Lamas.
No.
He's going to be a far different technician. So we're going to go to the main event, which is, like I said, Neil Magny, Kelvin Gastelum. The main question is, can Kelvin stand on that weighing scales and be 170 pounds? That is the biggest fight we're going to have.
And can he also take the lungs into the 5th round?
If
with that weight cut.
If it goes 5,
with that weight cut.
Yeah.
Kelvin, he's looked brilliant, and he's looked dull.
Yeah, so
you've got a couple of fights he's sort of like, and then other fights he's come out and he's looked fantastic.
His last outing as a welterweight, he didn't actually weigh in as a welterweight, which was against Tyron Woodley, and he lost. And then he had to go to middleweight, which he fought Nate Marquette, and then he finished Nate Marquette. So you're like, okay, fair enough. And then Daniels went, okay, well, basically, Kelvin begged, said, look, let me do it, I'll make it. So now he's got a chance at 170 again. He's fighting a guy in Neil Magny he went on a beautiful win. I think it was seven
rivaled
fight win streak. It was seven. It
rivaled Don Cerrone.
It was a 7 fight win streak he went on, Neil Magny. And do you know what? He wasn't fighting the top welterweights, but he was winning fights. That's all that mattered.
And he was climbing every time.
But he turned himself around. He's turned himself around into a hell of a better fighter nowadays. Then he went up against Damian Maia and lost the fight. Damian Maia would just literally out-grappled him. Like, it was another level of grappling, but the thing is, you've got to expect that with someone like that. So we got tapped out on, I think that was like the 1st of August that fight was, and then on the 24th, literally 3 weeks later,
he came in on short notice
and won. So that was it. Eric Silva, bloody hell. I couldn't remember who it was, so he came in.
Eric Silva looked a little bit baggy on that fight.
Yeah, but Neil Magny stepped in, short notice, and finished the fight.
Mysteriously around the same time that testosterone was getting pulled and all the tests were getting done. Amazing, like a miracle.
So this fight is really interesting. I really do see this fight. Now Neil Magny's got that reach. He's going to stretch it out.
He's longest reach in the weight.
Now I think for Kelvin the important thing on this fight is to close that gap and grapple him and get him down to the ground and really just put that pressure on Magny and try to keep him down, because if Magny can stay up, he can really try and use footwork to get away. I don't think he's going to
be the end of those shots.
I don't think he's going to be able to. I think Kelvin's going to win with a pressure game, and I think Kelvin's going to get that. I pick Kelvin because he is one of them guys who will just smother fuck you, and that's what he'll do.
I think a lot of it comes down to his weight cut, how his camp went, etc. And you're right. If he can come in with the energy, he can do this. Do you know what? I think he might not. I think welterweight is just going to go against him in this one, and Neil Magny might be able to be in a 5-rounder as well. You know what I mean? Like if he can get through those first 3 rounds, make those shots count when he needs to. Start to take, that weight cut might then go against Kelvin.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go for Neil in this one.
Yeah, I just, for some reason, I feel in a head submission for
Kelvin. No. It's not a crazy. It's not a crazy
weird
decision.
It's a weird vision I have. It's a weird vision.
Do you know what? The thing is, when he had a good dietitian on his hands that got his weight cut right, you know what? He looked formidable. He
needs to sort that.
And then he sacked him off.
And I'm picking Kelvin at 170. If he can make 170 or 171. If he can make the weight, I'll pick Kelvin. But if he doesn't make weight, I would probably side with Neil. Obviously, we're picking now before the weigh-ins, but I think I would literally, if he came in like at 175, I'd straight away flip over to Magny. But then again,
I think we'll know by the end of the second round, how things are going.
So now we're going to go to our last interviews, which is 2 guys taking each other on the Titan FC 36 card, which is happening in December. We have Cody Stamann against Kevin Croom. The pair of them are going to throw down. It's going to be awesome to watch. So here is Cody and Kevin now. Alright, firstly, thank you very much for your time today, Cody. You have been swooped up, snapped up and signed up with Titan FC. Go and fight in December. Your opponent is, for you, I think this is a very good marker of a challenge. You got a guy who's a very experienced fighter in Kevin, and for you, I think it's good for you as a fighter. Are you quite looking forward to this? Because the only loss on your record is a split decision. So with a guy like Cody with so much experience, it must be someone you're quite excited about facing.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as they gave me the call, I didn't hesitate to take the fight. Obviously, it's a huge opportunity for me. Fighting for Titan FC, they're great promotion. Kevin's a tough guy. He really is going to be an awesome test to see where I'm at. Kind of see if I can hang with the big boys. I can. I just have to go out there and prove it to everybody else. It's going to be like a coming out party for me, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say it's got to be a good marker, like I said before, and I think you do need fights like this especially at your stage of your career where you've got a very solid record, and it's really you've really got to start testing yourself now. You can't. You've got to get to the bigger shows. You've got to start facing more, maybe like I say, more experienced opponent, someone who can possibly push a nice hard 3 rounds.
But there's I'm not saying to look at it, isn't it? Yeah. Some might say test themselves, some might say show what they can really do.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. It's a test. It is a test because can you come out of your shell and show the potential you have, especially on the big stage. I would say this is your biggest stage in the sense of it's going to be on Fight Pass. You've got a lot of eyes then coming on to you to watch. So does that quite excite you, the fact that a lot of people can maybe see what you can do?
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting to fight in front of a larger crowd, but I mean, it doesn't really ruffle my feathers at all. I'm pretty used to the pressure. Where I'm from in Michigan, I'm kind of a hometown favorite. I have a lot of people come out to the fights, so there's always a lot of pressure. My last 5 fights have been main event championship fights, so I mean, the whole pressure issue isn't. I mean, I don't really think too much about that. I'm just really focused on being the best fighter I can be come December 18th, being in great shape, and giving everything I can to Kevin Croom that night.
What are you doing then to be the best fighter you can be? What is it you're doing with training? What is it? Are you going anywhere in particular? What is it?
Well, I actually train at Michigan Top Team, Dearborn, Michigan. We have a really good group of guys. Guys my size, guys a little bit bigger. Some of the guys to name. Jason Fisher, Bellator lightweight tournament vet. Darren Cruikshank. He's my main training partner. He's got like 15 UFC fights. We have an awesome coaching staff. We have separate coaches for every aspect of the game. My jiu-jitsu coach is, Nogi Woltkamp, black belt, John Tullis. My boxing coach, Kara Rowe, she's like a 6-time, female professional boxing world champ. I have a, awesome coaching staff. And really, I live in Grand Rapids, but when I have a fight coming up, I'm in Detroit for 8 weeks. Just so I'm there. I have nothing to focus on but, preparing my mind and body for the fight. So that's my basic 8-week training camp. And I'm coming off of, I just fought October 24th. I fought a really tough kid in Chris Dunn. I had a 5-round fight with him. I won all 5 rounds. So, I mean, this is I did like a 10, 12-week training camp for that. Took a week off, and I'm jumping right back into another one. So, I'm just, I got a head of steam right now, and I'm ready to, really get the ball rolling. I'm ready to make some things happen in my fighting career.
So I'm guessing confidence is in a good place at the moment.
What's that?
I'm guessing your confidence is in a good place at the moment.
Oh yeah. I'm very confident. That when I fought Chris Dunn, I was training. I trained in Las Vegas for like 6 months. I really just focused on getting better for a while. I hadn't fought in like 10 months, and then I was fighting at a weight class I hadn't fought at in a couple of years at 135. There's a lot of things, stacking against me in that fight, and then I came out. Chris is definitely my toughest opponent. The guy's a killer. He's been, beating guys up with similar records to me, like his last, 5-6 fights, and I came out and I won every single round, really decisively. So, I mean, that was like it just made me realize that, all this hard work and all this dedication, all this stuff is paying off. Like, I really can fight. I can go in there and scrap with anybody, So it's just, when this opportunity came up, I was thrilled because I really do want people to see what I can do. I think I belong amongst, the elite at 135, and Kevin Croom is a stepping stone for me to prove that.
I think it's always good as well when you're moving up to a big stage. If you're coming off a good solid 5 rounds like that, that in some respects is better than a chunk of time in training. I think because you really get to test the things you've been working on, and it's like a live firing exercise. It's
no, it really is. It's like I like it. It really got I can see where my gas tank is at. I can see little details I need to work on. Things mentally, physically. And then, the next 8 weeks, just focusing on, making those little improvements and just building on what, the foundation I already laid down, that last training camp. I prefer it to be this way because, a lot of guys are, like, in camp and then 3 months they're just doing nothing, and then, half their training camp is just trying to get back in shape so they can function at a level to, get ready to fight, to where me, like, 2 weeks after the fight, I could have fought again. I didn't have any injuries. I was 100% healthy. My weight's good. Everything's great. You know, so I'm really fortunate to have had that fight directly before. So, you know, when I talked to my coaches about it, everyone was like, yeah, dude, you need to fight again because you're healthy. You just got done with a huge fight. You did well. Let's just build on it and keep going forward.
Well, yes, exactly. I mean, your mental state would then be in the right place, knowing that your cardio's on point, you know, which is probably sometimes one of the biggest things. Like, oh, you know, am I going to gas, etc. You know, it's if you've done a good solid 5 rounds against a live opponent, you know, okay, right, the cardio's sound. You know,
you're going into a 3-round fight now, so my question is, will you be able to probably apply a higher pace of pressure as you would do then now, knowing that you've got the gas tank for the 5 rounds?
Right, yeah. I mean, everything changes now because, you know, training for a 5-round fight, it's basically, you know, it's really a different pace. Mm-hmm. And then training for a 3-round fight, it's basically a sprint. Like, I need to be able to sprint for 15 minutes straight. And, you know, I could do that for 5-minute rounds because I really pride myself on my conditioning. I think that a lot of fights are won and lost based on who has a better gas tank and who wants it more. And you know, as far as that's concerned, like I am one of the most in shape fighters I've ever met in my life. You know, I come in shape, and I know Kevin is going to be in great shape. So this is going to be like a pretty explosive fight. You know, prepare for that because he comes in great shape. He's real aggressive. You know, I come in great shape. I'm really aggressive. So you know, our styles are you know, it's going to turn out to be a war because, you know, what he does and what I do good are, you know, our aggressive nature and, you know, our conditioning. So, you know, I got to be able to go for 15 minutes as hard as I can, and so will he. So it's going to be an awesome test.
Having Crookshank as kind of like you said, kind of main training partner, so does he help then with kind of basically guidance, not just in training but just in general with your career, and just cause I would imagine having someone like that, it's very helpful to have around. It keeps you kind of level-headed.
Yeah. I mean, Jared and I met when I was still in the amateur and he was still like 1-0 or 2-0 as a pro. So, you know, I was, you know, he's like 5 or 6 years older than me. Basically, I've been like his little apprentice, you could say. Like all the mistakes that he made in his career, he made sure that I didn't make. You know what I mean? He really, it was a learning experience for him. And then, you know, he'd make a mistake and he'd tell me like, hey, don't do this. You know, be patient. Do this. And it was also great to see like that. You know, him and I came up from the exact same place. You know, we were doing the exact same workout day in and day out. You know, I lived with the dude for like 4 years. You know, so we would work out together like pretty much every day. You know, and it was cool to see like him go from, you know, fighting at like small local shows, you know, to fighting, you know, in the UFC. And I've cornered him in like 15 UFC fights, or 12 of his UFC fights. So it's pretty cool for me to see that like, you know, what we're doing actually works. And, you know, if I'm doing the same thing he's doing, you know, I can have the same results. I can be in the UFC. I can be a top contender. I can fight, you know, world-class opponents and make a little money doing it.
I was going to say, Darren is always in entertaining fights. I mean, yeah, I like to watch him personally. You know, it's so he's an ideal marker stick to have in your gym. You know, as a training partner to see where you're at yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like he can do stuff that like other people just can't. Like he can throw like crazy kicks and like, you know, after sparring with him day in and day out, you know, sparring everybody else kind of seems a little mild because, you know, when I'm sparring Darren, I got to worry about him taking my head off with a spinning heel kick or, you know, spinning back kicking me in the stomach, making my lunch come up. Like he can just do things that most fighters can't. You know, most guys are bread and butter. He's more like a buffet of offensive crap coming at you when you're sparring with him. So it's definitely good to have a guy like that in the gym.
It is, yeah. I think having someone like that around is always helpful, just like you say, because of what he's told you, what not to do. And I think it's a learning game for some gyms that maybe don't have the experienced fighters. If they've got one person that's gone ahead of everyone else, they need to filter that kind of, pass that knowledge on down, you know, down the chain, so to speak. Now, come December, you're going to look to put a show on. Have you signed a 4-fight deal with Titan? I can't remember how many you signed with them.
I signed a 4-fight deal with Titan.
Yeah.
You know, they're with their relations with the UFC and me wanting to be in the UFC, it just made sense. You know, they're a good promotion. They're obviously, you know, on UFC Fight Pass. That's huge for my exposure. You know, and they have guys that I need to fight to make it to the next level. So it's like all around win for me. You know, there was really no like going into it. There's no like positive and negative weighing out a decision. You know, it's pretty much all positive. Like,
Yeah,
I was going to say, everything I need to get to the next level. So.
Yeah. They do have a really good cluster of 135ers as well, so that must quite excite you as well. That you know you've signed a 4-fight deal, and even after this fight, you know that they've got a solid 135er as a next opponent. They've not got, you know, they've got a good bunch of guys there that really will help you in your career. You know, the fact that
expose yourself as well. Like,
it's the fact that you get to fight those guys of a good level, and to test yourself for that kind of, you know, that USC kind of reach and goal that you want to have.
And then they've got that fantastic clause in where they will not become an obstacle should the UFC come calling.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we're all like, you know, waiting stable, you know, waiting to go in the UFC, and whoever shines in these fights is going to be the one that gets picked. So, you know, I think a lot of guys in Titan, especially the 35 pounders, I think everyone's really hungry because 35 is kind of an open weight class. You know, anybody could be the next UFC star. So, you know, we're all thinking that we're going to be in the big show, and it's just going to come down to, you know, who's more talented and who wants it more. You know, it's going to be the guys that get brought up. Yeah,
it makes it that it's like every fight seems like a title fight in a way, because if you look good in a fight, you know, that call could come even before you even get to a title fight in Titan.
Right. Yeah, I know. I mean, that you don't even know. Like, you know, if I want to be in UFC, I might roll out my whole contract. I don't know. You know, I don't know. It just depends on how well I perform and you know how dominant I am, whether I get a finish or not. You know, I'm coming off two decisions. You know, I won all the rounds, but you know, I really need a knockout. You know, I got a lot of knockouts early in my career. But I really need to come out and show that I can finish somebody. I can knock somebody out. You know, so this fight, you know, I got to go for broke. I got to really try to turn the lights off as soon as I get in there.
Sounds like there's a fun fight coming.
Sounds like there's a fun potential. Yeah, under 15-minute fight it's always intrigues me anyway. And Cody, for anyone that maybe wants to, you know, obviously people can watch this on UFC Fight Pass, but anyone who wants to join up and, you know, give you a little bit of support and follow you on your kind of trek to this bout, how can they do it on social media, mate?
Okay, so social media, it's all the same. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. It's just Cody Stamann, CodyStamann. You can type in Cody Stamann on Google, and you can find me on all three of those. It's all exactly the same. So I make it easy for people to find me.
Good stuff. And we'll obviously, like we say, we always put the picture of the fighter, our guests that we have on, and we always put the links on there. What on our Facebook page? What about you got any sponsors, buddy, that are helping you out with this camp?
You know, I'd really like to give a big thanks to the Patino Diet. Frank, you know, he does a ton for me. You know, being a fighter, it's always good to have a good doctor. My chiropractor, Dr. Stopa, Vengeance Fight Gear, all my training partners, everybody, my coaches at Michigan Top Team. You know, there's a lot of people in my corner making sure that I succeed, and you know, I'm pretty thankful, you know, to have so many people rallying around me, you know, supporting me, you know, in my conquest to, you know, be the best.
And obviously, you've got a great team and bunch of people around. Obviously, Darren Cruikshank, you know, having something like that to spar with is always great. So, sounds like you've got a really good team, and we look forward to watching the fight. Me and Mike will be tuning in, and we watch it, and we're crossing the UK, so it's great for us to have access to these cards. You know, have a great fight camp, enjoy yourself, and looking forward to you putting on a great show with Kevin.
All right, thank you guys. It's an awesome interview.
Okay, firstly, Kevin, thank you for joining us. We're going to talk about your upcoming bout on Titan FC 36. You're fighting Cody Stamann. Now, Kevin, you've got a lot more experience than Cody, but Cody's coming up. He's an exciting talent. You've definitely got the experience and the knowledge on this kid. Do you feel that having a chance to fight on Titan is a good way for you to really benchmark yourself in this kind of on this status, on this level?
I mean, most definitely. I'm very happy to be back involved with Titan. I fought for Titan before a number of times. We've always had a really good relationship. So I'm incredibly happy that I get to showcase my talents under them. They got a lot of good things going on, so that's really good. And about Cody, yeah, man. I mean, I think this is definitely a good fight for me to showcase my talents. And it's on a good stage too. It's on UFC Fight Pass, so I get a really good opportunity here, and I'm going to take full advantage of that.
Yeah, I was about to say you get to showcase yourself on Fight Pass now, where it's not the same Titan as before. You see, it's almost kind of the
homes around the world.
Yeah, it's went up a level in a sense, and also with Jeff taking over it, everything's kind of changed, and I think there is a lot more hype behind Titan FC now than there were maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Do you feel that as well? Do you feel like momentum changed with it since you got there?
Most definitely.
Now,
they got a lot more shows going on, a lot different areas, a lot broader audience, and definitely a lot greater, better stable of fighters. So yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that statement.
And it also sounds like they are looking after their fighters. They're putting their fighters first.
Definitely. Yeah.
And now with like I said, they've got the roster there. They've got a lot of exciting, talented fighters there. So, especially going into the promotion, you can look forward to the future as well. Obviously, you focus on the fight you have now, but knowing that they've got those names in there, it's kind of settling really. It kind of puts you at ease knowing that they've got a lot of guys there that are going to push you. They're going to test you, so you can really, kind of see where your level is.
Yeah,
and
there's competitions there.
It also helps for your training as well. I imagine your training now, you get that kind of, that level. It goes up a little bit now, knowing that you have to keep on your toes. You have to keep yourself sharp. You have to improve your game.
Yeah, I mean, you always have to. That's for sure. You always got to be on top of it.
And what have you done anything particular? In the build up to this kind of, are you going to do anything particular to build up to this fight to get yourself ready for it?
I mean, I've been a pro fighter for a long time, like you mentioned before. I have the experience. I have a set schedule. I fight as much as I can. So I'm not really doing anything too different. I have something that works for me. I got good coaches, good training. I live in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's high elevation. So I got a lot going on for me. So I'm kind of just focused on keeping everything the same. Obviously, growing and learning and getting better every day. But for the most part, man, my training is the same. Don't fix it if it's not broke.
Yeah, you're right then. One of the weapons, you said it there, the high altitude, that is a weapon that you have got, which a lot of people don't understand that it is a very useful weapon to have in a bout for guys that maybe don't train at high elevation. It does make a difference when you go in there.
We've seen that come, where fighters have come unstuck in the past where they haven't had that altitude training.
I mean, definitely. Right now, Albuquerque is about 5,500 feet above sea level, and then we go up on the mountain and train. It's about 11,000 feet. So, it's definitely, especially fighting at sea level, or I believe Kansas City's maybe about 2,000 feet above sea level. I'm not quite sure on my facts on that one. I think it's about 2,000 feet. So that's a normal 3,000 feet there, and that definitely, it really does help.
No, it does. It does make a huge difference. It really does. And you're right. the elevation. Like I say, it is a weapon. It is
we
really.
saw Kane, didn't we?
Yeah, Cain Velasquez against Vidal.
He decided not to train at altitude, and
he didn't come to acclimatise to it. He didn't
no,
get
exactly.
prepped for it,
He's always known for his cardio, and then all of a sudden
he gassed. Yeah, it does make a difference. So obviously, when you're training, you're getting ready for fight. But outside of the training, what is it you like to do then? How do you kick back? How do you relax? How do you unwind?
During training camps, it seems like I do less and less. I'm so exhausted. I work and I train. During training camps, it seems like I watch a lot of movies, and I'm kind of boring. I don't do too much. But when I have the energy to go out and do stuff, man, I really like to go mountain biking. We got a lot of mountains around here. I'm a big fan of camping. I have a motorcycle. I like to ride around. I like to maintain a real active lifestyle. I enjoy snowboarding. Pretty much anything that gives me a little bit of an adrenaline rush. I'm kind of an adrenaline junkie. I suppose hence the fighting. So yeah, man.
Yeah, you sound like my kind of man. I was out camping at the weekend myself. Like I like to go and like grab my guns and grab my camping gear and just go and get myself something to shoot myself something to eat and go and do a bit. And at the mountain biking, I used to love me mountain biking. Sadly, that's on the shelf now. But
I was going to say there's nothing wrong with sitting down and chilling out and watching films. When I've finished training, I'm the same as you. I'm exhausted, and I tell you what, that sofa and that movie is the best thing ever to do.
Well, yeah, your rest time is important. It's part of your fight camp.
Like you don't have a choice with the resting.
Yeah, I think
man, it's really kind of funny, like how like the cycles of my life. It's like when I'm in fight camp, for like 8 weeks, so a couple months. I'm at the gym the entire time, and then when I come home, I'm kind of boring. I just watch TV and fall asleep. But then when I'm not in a fight camp, I go wild for like a little while. I try to get in as much activity as I can, and I go on so many road trips. I make myself sick of road tripping, sick of traveling. So then I can just come back and be focused on the gym.
Yeah, it's like binging almost, like you overindulge on something you enjoy to get yourself back, get away from it all.
So when
man.
So when you say camping, what would you do? A bit of hammock camping, or you in tents, or campers, or what?
Definitely. Normally a tent. Sometimes I like to go canoeing and like camp on the river and stuff. But yeah, man, mostly a tent.
Yeah, I've got myself a fishing kayak. Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance this year to get out on it. I missed the summertime. I had a busy summer for one way or another. I've had a few medical issues this year, but hopefully next year I am going to get out on it, and I want to catch my first fish off it. That's what I want to do. It's frustrating.
Yeah, man. I unfortunately didn't get to go fishing as much this year as I would like to. I live in the desert. I'm from Missouri, which there's a lot more lakes and everything out there, and I'm used to fishing a lot more. But now I kind of live in the desert, and the fishing's a little sparse, and it's upsetting sometimes.
Yeah, you can miss those little comforts that you used to have. Yeah,
well, we're kind of the opposite. We live on an island, and
so we're always
surrounded we're surrounded by the sea, which is great. A bit of sea fishing is easy access with the thing. Yeah. So once I can get a bit of free time, and things are sort of more running good for me.
We like to get out there as well and just get outdoors.
Oh yeah, I feel more alive when I'm out there.
It is. And you know what?
Yeah, man. People. When I get around too many people, sometimes I just got to get away. There's nothing like the great outdoors. That's for sure.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It does help. It does help for your training when you get back into the gym, and when you've been away from it all, it does make a huge difference. Yeah. And I suppose when you get back to training, and like you say, it helps you put your focus in. Do you then, when you've been away from training, do you start to look at training a bit different then? Do you see that there was a couple of things you need to change in the sense of, maybe I weren't doing this right, or maybe do you analyse it as well when you're away?
Yeah, most definitely. I think when I take a break, because man, I think
becoming a better person, a more evolved, a more advanced person, like increasing your thinking makes you a better fighter. You know, so even if I've been out of the gym for a couple weeks, you know, I mean, I still think about it, and I come back and I find myself doing a little bit better. You know, I mean, I think it's very healthy. You know, to I don't know, like kind of invest in your soul. You know, like kind of take that time away, reflect on everything, remember, hey, this is why I do this. This is why I take so much pain. I work so hard, you know, and it's. I think it's good to just have a little bit of time to reflect and then come back, you know, and yeah, man, you analyze things you're doing. You know, hey, I want to try this when I get back. Yeah, man, it's just good to kind of clear your mind and think about other things. You know, this is so much part of my life. I do it every day. You know, it when you're in it, it's kind of, you kind of get, you know, like in a cloud, and you just kind of see what's right in front of your face.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you take a couple steps back, and, you know, get a breath of fresh air, and you kind of see things a little bit clearer. You know.
Yeah, it is beneficial. It sometimes really does help just to step away, and people do just get that kind of mindset of I need to train every day as much as I can, otherwise I won't get anywhere. And you have to step away sometimes to see where the slight little changes can be, or where you can maybe try something new. Or
it's also good for the mind as well, I think. You know,
it is. It is.
And sometimes it's like you start just like beating the hammer against the wall. You know, it's like you have to. I'm doing this because I have to do it. I have to do it. You know, and you're not. It's just like you just get monotonous in it. And yeah, man, you got to have that step back and you know, just a breath of fresh air kind of change things up.
It does, and it sounds like you've got you sound like you've got that balance there, which is very important. You know, you've got the balance between the time that you spend in the gym to evolve and train as a fighter, but also that balance of breaking away from it just to maybe reset, recharge, and come back again fresh. That
it's
balance
like a maturity,
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, and trust me, that's just like you just said, man. That's maturity. I've been doing this. This is my 9th year. I'm working on my 9th year right now, and it took me a very long time. I was probably overtrained for half of my beginning fights. You know, I didn't understand that you need rest just as much as you need hard training. You know, you need that. You need to take a step back, and you need to, you know, like let your body rest and your mind rest. You know.
It's a shame you can't just jump in a time machine, isn't it? Go back and tell...
And shake the old you.
You know, 17, 18-year-old you,
Sit
like,
down,
and
you
say,
idiot.
right, this is what you do. But I think it's down to people like yourselves and the coaches now of the world to really sort of input this into the new breed that are coming through now, like, you know, and say, look, this is the way to do it. You might think it's, you know, 24/7. It's not. It's, you know, you've got to give the body a chance to sort of heal and give the mind a chance to sort of, you know.
Definitely, man. I like that you just mentioned, you know, helping out the younger generation. You know, man, when I was starting this off, man, I didn't have anybody giving me any advice. I didn't have, you know, I was just a young, dumb kid who liked to fight, and that's what I was going to do. That's going to be my job, you know. I didn't have anybody to help me out, and so, you know, I mean, I got some really good young fighters, young, talented fighters that I'm so jealous of. They're 20 years old, and they're 10 times I started at 20, and they're 10 times the fighter I was, you know, at probably 23, 24, you know, like, they're just so ahead of the curve. And so, yeah, man, I definitely try to help them out, like, you know, kind of try to kick them to the game, like, hey, man, this is, I know this might be how you think it is now, but it ain't like that, man. Listen to me.
Just don't tell them where you go camping. They'll all be following you. You'll be like a little scout leader or something, you know. Yeah.
They're not allowed on those trips.
I have people say to me, like, you know, like when I'm at work and they say, "Oh, you're going camping again soon?" I say, "Yeah," and they go, "Where'd you go camping?" And I go, "Oh, over to the west." You know, I just,
that's what I say when that's how I act when people ask me where I get my clothes.
It's like telling people where you hide your money. You just don't do it. The last thing
None of your business.
Yeah. I go over there.
Yeah.
It's that's enough.
I go the opposite way you go.
Yeah, it's and do you know what? It's I'm a bit like yourself. Sometimes I think a room on my own with a mirror in it is too crowded.
Yeah.
It's nice.
For sure.
Sometimes it's good to be lonely.
Yeah, it is sometimes. I agree on that one. Obviously, you're gonna have this matchup with. You have this matchup with Cody. It's going to be, again, we know Titan put on very well match fights. We know they do. We know their cards are really good, And we're going to be watching over here in the UK. We're going to be keeping an eye on it. We're going to be promoting it as well. But Titan aside, if we want to join you, for example, on your kind of journey and kind of get into an insight into what you're doing, do you have any social media stuff that maybe people can jump onto?
Most definitely. On Twitter and Instagram, at HHHillbillyKC. My nickname's the Hard Hitting Hillbilly, and then on Facebook, the Hard Hitting Hillbilly Kevin Croom is my fan page. And yeah, I'm pretty active in social media. If you ever got any questions, just hit me up. And yeah, man, I'm normally pretty good at answering questions and talking to fans. It's always nice to get a little feedback.
Just a word of advice: keep your location switched off on your Facebook.
No GPS, no GPS, no GPS.
Yeah.
What about
most definitely. After you've had a couple crazy girlfriends, you already know that.
What about your sponsors, buddy? What about you got any sponsors out there?
Most definitely. I want to give a big shout out to Albuquerque Drive Shaft. They always come through. They always help me out. Mama D's Dungeon. I want to thank Hillbilly Fightwear, Bell to Bell Impact, Pro Tax. I want to give a huge shout out to my gym, Latrell G's MMA, Albuquerque Kickboxing. Big shout out to Coach Latrell and Coach E. And, thank you everybody for all the support. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for allowing me on your show. It was a great conversation. I'm glad to find out we have so much in common. It'll be good to talk to you guys again.
Oh, okay, man.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure,
For
buddy.
sure,
Yeah,
for sure.
we'll have to go on our own little adventures, and we'll have to talk about them next time. So we'll have to dig the fishing rod out and everything.
Interesting life you sound like you got there.
I try to keep it moving.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the way to be, buddy. That's the way. But hey, have a great time against Cody, man. Have a great bout against Cody. We know it's going to be a hell of a card, so just enjoy yourself on that weekend, man.
Yes, sir, I will. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, there was Cody and Kevin for you all. So jump on their social medias, get Fight Pass. You're going to watch that card. You've got it, guys. So we're going to jump now to our review, basically, of 193. The kind of repercussions it has on. It doesn't sound like a big deal, but that fight of Rousey and Holm it magnified a lot of going on in the UFC. Like, it really makes a difference.
Well, let's be honest, right? With Ronda Rousey, I don't care what anyone thinks. I know there's a lot of noise going around Conor McGregor. Ronda Rousey is the biggest cash cow of them all.
She's the biggest star for them. Biggest star. But she is.
She's made of gold. She is golden.
She is. Yeah.
And what happened at the weekend, and also the amount of hate that's landed on Ronda Rousey since the loss is like incredible. Right? This girl she is the reason that you got to see that fight in the UFC. I don't care what anyone says. She's the one that convinced Dana White.
Yeah.
To make it happen.
She did. And the thing is, the hate that came onto her is really frustrating because there was none of that beforehand, and yet as soon as she lost, everyone came out of the woodwork. It was childish. But let's go back to prior to the fight. There is a lot of goings on in. We're not trying to discredit Holly Holm's performance. What we're doing is we're just looking back at what went on with Holly. What went on with Ronda Rousey.
Well done, Holly Holm.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Things that got taken into account is the charge. Edmund going for the bankruptcy thing. He was in court actually on Monday, I believe it was. So that was a big factor. He was in court 2 days after Ronda was fighting in Australia. What was going on there with Edmund's head? What was going on when that got released? That's the story that Bloody Elbow released. what did Ronda speak with Edmund about? There's a lot of factors there.
You can even go a little bit further back to Ronda Rousey's mother. The statements that she's been saying.
I was going to get on to
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I was going to get onto that bit in a bit because I'm just talking about Edmund solely.
Yeah.
What's going on with that, and then you got to think because Ronda was surrounded by too many yes men, as the phrase goes, and the problem I always said about Ronda was she was in a camp that wasn't a camp. It was Ronda, and that was it. She was the golden ticket in that place, and there was no one else around it. But the thing is, I have always said that she should at least maybe have tried. Like I said, TriStar would be a great fit for her because she's fighting guys. Because she can fight with guys. Women can train with guys. The thing is, they've got a talent stacked group of people there who would really develop her and grow her. And the striking coaches they got there, they got they got everything they need for her to grow.
It's like you look at Holly Holm, where she's training.
Yeah,
she is training at one of the best MMA setups in the world.
She's not the best there. That's the thing.
Yeah.
She isn't the best there.
Yeah.
She's not the top dog.
There's people that are handing her hiding every now and again.
And the beautiful thing with going to something like TriStar as well, the reason why I picked them in particular is she's out the way of the limelight in the US. If she sticks in the US, she's more accessible to them. If she's out in Canada, out the way, it's a bit of a hassle to get her to come along. So she's less likely to come down to the States to do stuff. I think that's why TriStar would suit her. Get her there, get her out the way of everyone.
Put it this way, if GSP can handle it.
Well, yeah, I think it did help.
And to be honest, like he was like Jesus. Well, he's like Jesus out in Canada.
But I think it would help Ronda being there. She would be. There would be a bit more less on her plate, I think, as much. Now, obviously, she's probably going to go. She said she was going to have a break anyway after this fight.
Yeah,
regardless.
She said it before.
Way before.
So
now,
maybe she actually needed a break more than we realised.
Now, the other thing was, like I said, the yes men. Edmund probably gave her a lot more confidence and belief that she was better at striking than she was. The game plan was really stupid because I think Ronda, I don't mind her using her striking against Betch or Misha or anyone else, but when you're fighting a girl who has
that was her bread and butter,
clearly got a higher strike, Ronda should have just went to her old school ways that got her the wins, was charge like a bull at you, grab you and drag you down in any shape or form. She did not do that, ladies and gentlemen, at all. That was not the Ronda of old.
Not once did she sort of do throw herself at a sort of thing.
She just needed to charge at her. She should have done
take those couple of shots, because guess what? If you're going to follow her around, you're going to take them anyway.
She could have done like an Osoto Gary with the quick takedowns and stuff like that. She didn't do anything.
And if you are regular listeners, yes, we did pick Ronda Rousey to win, as did everyone pretty much.
No, we're not talking about that bit.
We're not
talking about that. But what I'm saying is, her game plan was completely wrong. And now I don't know where the game plan came from, or the theory, or the thought behind that. But they literally, when you
look to the coach,
when you fight someone who's a better striker, you just had to go back to your grappling. And she probably, fair enough, she did have an armbar attempt on Holly, and Holly got out. But you know what? She could have just kept taking it down and kept sticking at it. Because do you know what? So did Misha Tate. She got out of the armbar attempt, and Misha Tate lasted 3 rounds, and then she got the tap. Ronda could have done the same thing, but again, I talked earlier on about the footwork, which was the key thing. That was the thing when she started landing the strikes. Now, again, her footwork is never going to be. She's very flat-footed with her movement, Ronda, because of the judo so it's embedded in her. She needs to adapt her style to that footwork. But like I say, with her mother, a key factor is her mother obviously outed Edmund, and we posted that as well. The thing was, she wasn't there in a corner as well. And that would be due to the probably friction between her and Edmund, I would imagine, that could have possibly came about. But you've got to think that would have played a factor. When her mum's been there the whole time and then all of a sudden she's not. I'm telling you right now, that was something as well that kind of stuck out to me.
Because you know what? I'm going to guess Mother probably followed her around the judo tournaments, etc.
Yeah.
And probably stuck around with her pretty much her whole life.
Yeah. But I think Ronda obviously said, look, I got to have Edmund there because he can technically help me more than her mother could. And she could. No, she could on paper. No, but she can, because Edmund, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to sit here and say Edmund doesn't know what he's doing. He does. He has got credentials, and he does have, he does have knowledge on striking. It's what he does. But what he did in that game was it was so wrong. But I think that Holly Holmes, what she did was very well and precise. She kept the distance with her footwork. She literally counter-striked what Ronda was coming at her with, and it was beautiful because
and she broke her psyche as well in that fight. You could see that Ronda was just going back at the end of that first round. You could see she was like, ugh. Well, what do I do?
Well, that was the problem. Ronda had the face on her like, I'm a bit puzzled on how to fix this, and her coach should have said,
she knew this was not right.
Her coach should have just said, look, that's that scrubbed. Okay, forget that round. We've got 4 more. What we need to do in this, charge out like a bull, and get it. That none of that happened, and it should have happened.
Yeah. She came out the same she did in the first round.
All you see is everyone saying, "Oh, Ronda's got to do this. Ronda's got to change the world." She doesn't really have to change a hell of a lot. She really although I said a long ago that she should have changed camp, but she should change camp anyway because she's not surrounded by enough talented fighters.
And no matter how good you are, you can always get better.
Yeah, but I do think she should go back to what was winning her fights. I said I don't care if she won every fight after this the same way. I'd still be watching it. Now, it doesn't mean it's the end of the world that she lost. Look at GSP when he lost to Matt Serra. Do you know what? It can help you in so many ways, and this will show if she's a true champion.
Yeah, maybe she needed this
humbling. Yeah, she needed it. She needed humbling, and I hope it makes her a better fighter. I hope it makes her a better champion. For Holly Holm, I don't want them to do the rematch, but they will because it's all about money. But for Holly Holm, I would have liked to see maybe Holly Holm against. You could say Misha Tate, but I'd like maybe Max Nunes. Not
Max Nunes. I don't think he wants to.
No, but it's Nunes. Fucking hell. I've got Max Nunes in my head here, but I've been doing a lot of odd fight watching. Amanda Nunes. You got Misha Tate. Yes, you could do Misha Tate, but then again, I think if Dana did talk about the 125 division possibly opening up, I think Misha might look towards there. I just look forward to seeing.
So the question is, does Holly Holm have Ronda's number?
I will say, with the game plan that that Ronda went in with every time.
100 times.
But if you get the Ronda that went in her first few fights in the UFC, no, because Ronda will just
charge you down,
and she will get you down eventually.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if, like, like with Ronda, she and I kind of like this about Ronda, is that she'll try and almost like, okay. She won't always, like, she can beat almost anyone with a judo. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like, she's got that one wrapped up. But sometimes she will go in there and, okay, well, I'll beat with strikes then.
Well, because let's use this. The reason why she did it was because it would throw you off because you wouldn't expect it, and that was smart. But when you're fighting someone's a better striker,
maybe not use your strikes. Yeah,
you can't.
She's never going to catch Holly up with the striking game.
No, she's never going to do it. No, you got to accept it. So that's why you got to accept. You're never going to catch my judo. So guess what? I'm going to spend a lot of hours practicing grabbing you, and getting you down with many techniques. And that's all she had to do.
Yeah, getting past the strikes and just tearing you down.
And I think obviously we'll see what happens with the UFC. I don't know what they're going to do with.
But in this, so how much does this hurt the UFC? How much have they,
It does hurt the UFC a lot. Financially, Dana probably, you could see in his face, Dana won't admit it, but tell you what, that's a lot of money gone.
He's thrown a lot of money
a lot of money gone now. But then again, it isn't, because it isn't a lot of money gone.
Because you can do a mega rematch.
That's the thing. The rematch will sell more.
July
than this.
Could be an entertaining.
Well, that's what I mean. UFC 200. I'm telling you now, ladies and gentlemen, Dana's going to put that fight on UFC 200. And ladies, he's going to put that fight on UFC 200, and the money they'll make, and that card alone is going to be stacked, and they'll make a lot of money. But they're going to do that card on that, and they'll make a hell of a lot of money. That fight alone will sell itself. So, it's frustrating they're going to do it
because everyone wants to know,
Yeah. So Misha Tate,
does Holly Holm become like Anderson Silva's Chris Weidman, or does Holly Holm, or does Ronda Rousey get it right second time round?
You can't predict it because you don't know what Ronda's going to do now. I think when Ronda maybe comes out and talks about maybe what she's doing with her next, like if she does go somewhere else or whatever, I think that's the key.
But
you've got to wait.
Do you know what? It's
patience.
But it's not often in a lifetime that these sort of things happen, where you get somebody that's at the top of their game, and the whole world pretty much thinks that, okay, she's got this fight in the bag.
Yeah.
We thought it.
Yeah.
We
and she got smoked.
We weren't geniuses. We got it totally wrong. But then somebody comes out and smashes them. Happens to Tyson. It happened to Lennox Lewis. It happened to,
It'll happen.
It's happened to Ronda Rousey. You know, so
it'll happen. But do you know what? You got to move on from it. So that's we just had a quick little extra bit on that UFC 183 because there was quite a lot of repercussions. We've got to thank our guests as well for coming on. You know, Kevin, both Kevins, Aaron, Thomas, Ryan, Tommy, and Cody. Thanks for coming on. Thank you again for listening. Once again, we will stick these on our obviously SoundCloud and YouTube. We put them on individually as well, the interviews, as well as the whole podcast. So thank you very much for listening, ladies and gentlemen. And we hope you all enjoyed this week. We certainly did. We had a great time. And we just want to get you, before you go, jump on your social networking sites and give these people a follow. We have
UFC Scotland.
We have on Facebook UFC Wreckage. Also, their website and Twitter is MMA Wreckage.
We also have MMA UK, and their Twitter handle is We Are MMA UK.
On Facebook, we have Fighting and MMA.
And on Facebook and Twitter, we have The Real MMA Talk.
And then last but not least, on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, they're funny. They talk about MMA. It's funny MMA. Jump on. They'll give you a giggle. And let's finish off with thank you very much, everyone. We will be back very soon, won't we, Mike?
Yep, definitely. Thank you very much and goodbye.